Hello everyone, and I was about to do my video style intro. Hello everyone, how are we doing tonight? Oh, chat appears to be empty currently, but that is okay. So, today we are on day 13. We're finally gonna meet Castor. And we're gonna meet somebody else who I've been very eager to properly meet since the very beginning of this, because he's my fave and I love him. So, I think without any further ado, let's get into this. I was actually considering delaying tonight's stream a little bit because I was having like way too much fun watching the Aggravate boys, you know, Alejandro, Ben, Nazi, and Zach streaming Uno. But I was like, no, I'll just try to remember where I was when they upload the VOD. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into day 13. A red hill covered in corpses, and a gray sky. The heavy clouds drifting away announced the end of the battle. I know this scene. This is a scene I've seen many times already. This is one of the battles Saber experienced. These are the remains of a battleground so familiar to her as she is always victorious. After this, she will return to her castle. The people will celebrate her victory, and they will prepare for the next battle. This is her everyday life. This is but one of the 12 great battles she has gone through. That is why she does not bear any memories of the victory, but merely accepts it calmly. I think about such random things. That is not a dream. Just a cold truth that cannot be changed. From the moment she drew the sword from the stone, she was not human. After becoming a feudal lord like her father, she became a king with many knights. She was called King Arthur, or Arturia, and the girl who had tried to become a knight had her life turned around. No. It is more correct to say that it ended. At that instant, the girl with childlike features disappeared, and the only existence permitted was that of the King of Knights. She acted as the son of the king. That is because the one to govern many territories and control the knights had to be male. The only ones who knew that the king was just a girl were her father and the magus. Haven't we already read this part? She literally covered herself in steel and sealed that truth for all her life. Hold on. Yeah, we're on day 13. We're on the right day. I swear to God we've read this already. Why didn't I realize what that meant? Someone placed before everyone managed to keep her identity secret. I don't know what suffering she went through, as I'm only watching from a distance. Time passes. These must be her memories of the 10 years she spent as king. There's only one thing common to all of them. Even on the throne, even in a hallway, even on the battlefield, no one talked to her. Okay, yes, this is different. Even the loud round table filled with the knights' tales of bravado falls silent when the king steps in. So that's what it means. She was only idolized. Many knights looked down on Arturia, who looked like a small kid, and they did not approve of swearing their swords to her. But because she drew out the sword that they could not, they had to obey her, at least in form. They just accepted the disgrace, believing that it would pass. Even if she drew the sword, she is just a child. Even with Merlin's help, she will fail soon enough. When that happens, they need to only take the holy sword away from her and reselect the king. That's what most of the knights thought. But the results were different. The knight that just entered adulthood was a king without flaw. She brought peace to the fighting lords and immediately fought off the invading enemies. Of course, it isn't because of the power of the Holy Sword. The Holy Sword only protects the king. It is the king's power that protects the country. And in that way, she suppressed the knights with results. The protection of the Holy Sword works only against enemy swords. It does not help rule over people's hearts. She worked hard to be an ideal king, and so the knights had to follow their king. They suppressed their dissatisfaction with the young king as they saw he was perfect. She tried to be an ideal king. Being an ideal king was the condition of their support. There was no room for the human Arturia. The girl determined to be king. A great knight who pulled out the Holy Sword, who did not age from that moment on, and one who won 12 great battles. The more perfect she was, the more people kept away from her. The longer she stayed that way, the more isolated she became. That was her true identity. But she still did well. No, she did too well. She defeated her enemies efficiently and minimized the victims in battle. No matter what kind of war it is, a battle will have victims. So she believed she should make sacrifices before the war to prepare the army and to defeat the enemy efficiently. She would exhaust one village to prepare the army, defeat the invaders before they could damage the land, and save 10 villages. That was the solution she came up with as the king, and in truth it was the best policy. But the knights must have been unhappy. For them, only the invaders should die. It was only proper to win without allowing any victims. There is no need to sacrifice one's own territory before a battle. We will win, so there will not be any victims. There will not be any victims, so the king's actions are fruitless. That's what they thought. Of course, that was just a fantasy. Once the battle began, the knights did not think about the small villages. It was only natural for them to trample over them, as the small villages are not what they seek to protect. The knights say it is only natural to be destroyed by the invaders, but it is a great sin to destroy them with our own hands. Of course, she knew that. But a king cannot allow her personal feelings to affect her decisions. She kills her emotions to make a decision, and the knights suppress their personal feelings to obey. And after many sacrifices and continuing victories, the country became stable. The price of that was a revolt against the king. King Arthur does not understand human feelings. One knight said so and left the castle. It's a ridiculous story. Nobody wanted her to be human, but they revolted against her because she didn't have a human's feelings. The Age of Chaos continues. The knights, who had been dissatisfied with the king for some time, became more dissatisfied after that one knight left. They pushed all problems onto her and cornered her. Ruin was in sight. Death if she could not solve all the problems. Even if she did solve them, the result would be the same. But such trivial things are of no concern to a king. Her mind will not change even if she is abandoned, feared, or betrayed. Probably because she had her mind made up long before. She abandoned her emotions from the moment she decided to pull out the sword. A scene from a few years before. Knights from all over the country gathered to try to pull out the sword in the stone. But nobody could pull it out, and the knights were desperate to choose the most superior king by competing jousting skills. The knights went to the arena and forgot about the sword. It felt much like watching a festival from a distance. In the distance are the brave sounds of the cavalry. The roars of the knights are far away, and there was no one around the stone. What did the girl think before that? Before she realized it, an unknown magus was standing behind her.
それを手に取る前にきちんと考えた方がいい。
Merlin jump scare. He says he is not trying to frighten her, but that she should stop.
それを手にしたが最後、君は人間ではなくなる。
He also said that she would be resented by all humanity and die a miserable death. She could not have been without fear, because the Magus showed her the end she would face if she took the sword.
いいえ。
But that just made the girl more determined. She nodded firmly, even when she was shown her future. The Magus asks her if she is really fine with that.
多くの人が笑っていました。それはきっと間違いではないと思います。
She takes the sword. The Magus turns his back.
奇跡には代償が必要だ。君はその一番大切なものを引き換えにするだろう。
And leaves those prophetic words. That's right. The girl only wanted to protect everyone. But to do so, she had to throw away the emotion of wanting to protect people. Because one cannot protect a country as king if one has human emotions. She accepted it and pulled out the sword. She accepted it and swore to live as the king. So her heart would not change even if she was abandoned, feared, or betrayed. She threw away her heart. The young girl decided to protect in exchange for it. Who would ever know of such a sublime oath?
戦うと決めた。
No matter what.
それでも戦うと決めたのだ。
Even if there was inevitable solitary ruin waiting at the end. And the end was this. The Battle of Camlan. One knight usurped the throne while King Arthur was on a campaign. Her country split into two, and a war began. In the legend, it is said that knights and chivalry were utterly destroyed. She slashed away the knights that once followed her and attacked the lands she once protected. The knights who sided with her died, and her body was crippled. There was nobody around her. That's normal. Nothing has changed. The only thing in her heart is her pride as the king. She knew of this end, but she still ran through her life because she believed something came of it. She has no regrets. If there is one regret, it is that the country is in ruin. She raises her eyes. She might be able to see the distant castle from this hill, but all that's there is the remains of the battle, a deep forest, and a lake she must return to. Yes, the hill she ran through is now a wall she cannot climb over. Strength escapes her shoulders, and for the first time, the girl lets go of the holy sword by her own will. And that is the end. It's only natural for the dream to end there, because that is the end of her memories. So this is one end that cannot be changed. She worked so hard. She was resented, and she was betrayed. No one ever realized that she loved the people more than the country, and she was always the merciless king. She was never rewarded or understood. On the Red Hill of Swords, the solitary girl who was always betrayed is about to face death. I wake up to the sound of the rain.
朝になってる。
I hold my shaking head and get my body up. It's not 6 yet. The sound of rain from outside isn't that loud. I rattle my teeth at the sudden headache. But it only lasts for a moment. Neither the pain nor the image that pops into my head lasts long. But that scene is more than enough to wake my brain up.
今の夢は
know. I don't even need to confirm it. That was Saber's past. It was the end of her life that happened a long time ago that cannot be changed. Before I realize it, I'm gritting my teeth. It's making a sound. Somehow, I'm really angry. I grit my teeth loudly and suppress the urge to have a fit.
くそ。なんだよ、それ。
Just remembering it makes me mad. Her past, her thinking nothing of it, and me thinking the dream was nothing. I don't like it. I don't know what I don't like about it, but I just don't. I hate it. I don't want that. That life was unfair, no matter how you look at it. Such a life is wrong. She only wished for others. She did not wish anything for herself in return. She worked so hard, but nobody knew about it. That pisses me off. That's just too unfair to her. That's right. If she worked harder than anybody else, she should be rewarded the most. She has to be rewarded for all the things she's done. But what can be done now? Can I just tell her that she did a good job? Praise her that she was great? Of course not. Such easy words won't fix anything.
わかってる。答えなんて一つだけだ。
That's right. If she is to be rewarded, her life must be repaid. The girl called Arturia has to become happy in proportion to how much she has fought.
けど、それで何を？
My train of thought stops there. I don't know how to make people happy. That makes me realize my own distortions. I've been living trying to be a superhero, but all I've been doing is lending people a hand. I believed everybody around me would be happy if I helped others like that. No. I couldn't move forward with pride unless I believed that. Helping someone and saving someone are essentially different. I can't think of a way to reward Saber because I don't know the difference between the two. The breakfast table is the same as always. Saber and Tosaka must be adaptable as they already seem to be used to Ilya's presence.
で、あんたはどうするのよ、シロ。残るマスターは3人。聖杯戦争だって期限がないってわけじゃないんだから、そろそろ行動に移らないとまずいわよ。いつも後手を踏むってのも情けないし。
Tosaka is right. My body is fine and Saber is healed. Yesterday should be the last day of rest.
そうだな。けど、行動を起こすにしても、それは夜からだ。日が昇っているうちは今まで通りにする。
本気？まあ、相手の情報がないんだから闇雲に出歩いても仕方がないけどさ。じゃあ、シロは今日もセイバーにいじめられるわけ？
To get beaten up by Saber, not train with Saber, get beaten up by her. Training with Saber. That's the usual task, and it's natural for a master to prepare for battle.
リン、私とシロが行っているのは鍛錬です。今の発言は人聞きが悪すぎます。
I mean, she's right, though.
いや、まあそうだな。午前中は今まで通りセイバーにしごかれるよ。
シロ、あなたまでそのように言われては私の立場がないのですが。
ね、あ、いや、悪いセイバー。ぼーっとしてて聞いてなかった。
ですから、リンの言いぶりは乱暴すぎるという件です。まったく、どうしたのですシロ。今朝は覇気が感じられません。朝食もどことなく彩りに欠けますし、昨日も遅くまで蔵にいたのですか？
She asks, but Saber's words aren't criticizing. I can feel that Saber believes in me. That's why it's even harder to look at her now. If I do, the image of that hill pops into my head.
わかりました。後ほどカツを入れて差し上げます。それでは今日も道場で鍛錬をするでいいのですね、シロ。
ああ、頼む。イリアはどうするんだ？
私も昨日と同じだよ。雨に濡れるのは嫌いだから外に出たくないわ。
そうか、そうしてくれると助かる。できればイリアには家にいてほしいからな。外に出るのは危ない。
うん、昨日みたいにお弁当作ってくれるなら一緒にいてあげてもいいよ。
It seems Ilya liked the boxed lunch yesterday. I'm a bit embarrassed that she's content with such a thing, but I'm happy if she's happy.
なんだ、それじゃあ昨日と同じってことね。私も調べ物があるから部屋にこもるけど、午後になったら顔を出しなさい。ちょっと話があるから。
調べ物ですか？
そう、セイバーなら分かってると思うけど、昨日から竜道寺の様子がおかしいのよ。あれだけ精力的にやってた魔力集めも止まってるし、何か動きがあったのは明白でしょ。まあ残ったマスターの中で一番厄介そうなのは竜道寺のやつだしね。使いまでもこしらえて中の様子を探ってみるわ。
それでしたら探索に専念した方がいいのではないですか？無理に時間を割いてシロに享受する必要はないと思いますが。
まあそこはそれ。悪いけど我慢してちょうだい。私もね、まだ危なっかしくて放っておけないのよ。敵に殺されるのならいいけど、魔術をしくじって自滅でもされたら死として面目がないでしょ。
はい、リンの言う通りです。私はどうかしていました。リンの授業が必要ないなんてどうして思ってしまったのか。
その理由は簡単だけど、まあ知らぬが花ってことで。それじゃあ午前中の鍛錬頑張ってね。そいつ頑丈だから死なない程度に痛めつけるぐらいが最適よ。
She really said get his ass. Tosuka leaves the living room with an absurd
セイ
comment.
バー、言っとくけど遠坂の言い分なんて本気にするなよ。あいつはセイバーの打ち込みを受けてないからあんなこと言えるんだからな。
I remind her just in case. I don't know why Saber's so happy, but...
はい、分かっています。シロの体に関してなら私の方が熟知していますから。
She replies like that.
どうしました？食べないのですか、イリアスフィール。昨日に比べるとまだ3割にも届いていませんが。
違うよ、こっちのは食べられないの。私辛いのはダメなんだ。
Just like me for real.
はあ、そう辛いとは思いませんが、この香辛料は鶏肉に合っています。
マスタードは嫌いなんだってば。いいから食べて。その代わりそっちのイチゴの食べてあげる。
Just like me for real doesn't like spicy food or mustard.
何をするのです、イリアスフィール。こら戻しなさい。それはダメです。甘いものが欲しいならリンゴのパイがあるでしょう。
Sitting next to each other, the two of them are fighting like close sisters. It's past noon. We three are eating lunch together like yesterday. Oh yeah, the lunch isn't the only thing that's the same as yesterday. The training before this was exactly like yesterday's. No, it was more awkward today. I don't know how to put it, but my heart starts beating hard when I see Saber, and I can't attack her seriously now. Saber is also acting strangely, as she never used to overlook such openings, but now she waits for me to attack. And for a while, we just stared at each other.
二人ともどうしたの？見ててあんまり面白くないよ。
I renewed my spirits with that and attacked Saber, but the results were the same. After repelling my half-assed attack, she would not counter and let me go. As As I wasn't attacked, I would face Saber again and charge again, but she would overlook me again. This strange time ended about 10 minutes ago. At Saber's request, we entered the lunch break, and we're eating lunch now. The menu is the same as yesterday. Sandwich. But I couldn't just make the same thing as yesterday, so I elaborated on the ingredients, and it seems they really like it. Ilya is in high spirits, and Saber caught her breath faced with the multicolored sandwiches. I'm just guessing, but I think Saber must have been getting ready. Anyways, it's much louder today than yesterday. It's raining outside and the floor is cold wood, but I think this feels like a picnic.
ああ、もうそこまでです、イリアスフィール。それでは服が汚れてしまう。まったく、シローの真似をして一口で食べるからそうなるのです。あなたの口は小さいのですから、もう少しおとなしく食べるべきでしょう。
分かってないのはセイバーの方よ。こういうお弁当はね、お行儀を気にする方が失礼なのよ。これはピクニックなんだから、こういう風にするのが本当なんだよね、シロ。
Ilya munches on the sandwich happily. Saber wipes Ilya's mouth.
くすぐったいてば、セイバー。
It's a bit surprising. It's not just Saber, as Ilya trusts Saber more than she did yesterday.
驚いた。拒否しないのですか、イリアスフィール。
なんで？私、優しくされるの好きだよ。他のやつが私に触れたら殺すけど、セイバーは綺麗だから許してあげる。それに、今は同じお弁当を食べる仲間だもの。セイバーが私のこと好きなら、私もセイバーのことは好きよ。
Ilya says so simply. Saber looks at Ilya dumbfounded. Ilya's smile was a surprise attack even for me, who was watching from the side.
何？セイバーは楽しくないの？
いえ、それは。
Hello, Wind! Welcome, welcome!
私は楽しいよ。外は雨で、ここはこんな殺風景な場所で、欲しかったものは何もない。
You are in luck. We have not yet gotten to Caster. That is coming a bit later.
けど、こうしていると嬉しいの。一人でいるより、ずっとずっとあったかいでしょ？なのに、セイバーは楽しくないの？
She must have felt something in Ilya's smile. Saber lets out a deep sigh and stares at the white girl. Every time they phrase it like that, it just... I mean, she is. Well, she's half white. She's half Japanese. But...
そうですね。私もこうしているのはとても楽しい。
A clear voice. She smiles in a way I have never seen before. My heart feels warm for some reason. That smile was good. That smile was for herself. Not a smile from watching over someone's safety, but a smile because she is happy herself.
シロ、どうしました？そんな顔して。何かいいことでもあったのですか？
いや、別に何も。って今は変な顔してたか、俺。
してたわ。お父さんみたいな顔。遠くからこっちを見守ってますって風なの。私、そういう顔は嫌いよ。
I don't understand what she's talking about, but does that mean I was smiling?
そうか。まあ、いいことがあったからな。ついにやけちまったのかもしれない。
はあ、いいことですか？
そうだよ。セイバーは今みたいな笑顔のがいい。 それが見れてよかったって。
Back on making kits for your OCs, known we won't ever get a Nilu character. Aggravate and Hyperbloom equivalent. I see.
難しいですね。そんなことが嬉しいのですか、シローは。
だな。俺セイバーのそういう顔を見るのが好きみたいだ。
Saber nods, still not understanding. Then, she must have realized something as she smiles and raises her head.
そうですか。それでは逆ですね、シロー。
逆って何が？
私はあなたが笑顔でいてくれた方が嬉しい。あなたが笑っていられるなら私はそれで十分です。
Aww. Wind Hyperbloom doesn't need its own version of Nilou. Hyperbloom is like the most broken reaction in the game. I can't look directly at Saber. I bet anyone would overheat if they were smiled at like that. Somehow, I calm myself down and sneak a peek at Saber. Saber has returned to eating with a calm face. There's no unease in her expression. There's nothing to worry about, but something is nagging at the back of my head.
私はあなたが笑顔でいてくれた方が嬉しい。
Joking, but you went overboard making a kit for your OC. I mean, fair enough. Yes, with that smile I saw for the first time, she was saying something entirely contradictory. I listened to the rain in Tosuka's room. Today we performed a fake physical examination like yesterday. I just took the medicine Tosuka prepared for me and checked the magic circuit throughout my body. I guess it really is impossible to do any more here, since it'll require a more appropriate environment. I don't care about that, but I don't want to just sit here doing nothing. She told me not to move for a while to see the results, but I bet I can still talk.
トサカ、ちょっといいかな。
I call out to her, still meditating.
いいけど何よ。
セイバーのことなんだけど、なんて言ったらいいかわからないんだが。
Saying that, I realize I haven't thought this through at all. It's not even what can I do for Saber. I haven't even thought about what I want to do with Saber.
その、あいつ何がしたいのかなって。考えてみれば、あいつが自分から何かやるって今までなかっただろ？だから、
セイバーが何を考えているかわからない？
いや、そういうわけじゃないんだ。ただ、あんまりにも無欲すぎるのがわからない。
Shiro, you are literally exactly the same as Saber.
そう、そこがどうするべきなのかわからないんだ。
まあそうよね。セイバーが自発的にやったことってあんたを守ることだけだもの。サーバントとしては当たり前だけど、あそこまで徹底しているとわからなくもなるわ。でもだからといって無欲ってわけはないでしょ。セイバーだって自分の目的のためにあなたを守っているんだから。
That's right. I forgot about the reason she became a servant.
そうか。セイバーの目的は聖杯を手に入れることだもんな。目的がないってわけじゃないんだ。
And that holy grail will grant the wishes of its possessor. So Saber at least has a wish she wants granted. I don't know what it is, but it's a wish she wants granted even if it means becoming a servant. Surely the wish must be to save herself. Yeah, for example, she's here in this time, so she can stay here and live a second life with the power of the Holy Grail. No, rather, she has to go that far to make up for her sad end.
なんだ、話は簡単じゃないか。
気持ち悪いわね。いきなり元気になっちゃって。 今の話そんなに面白かった？
ああ、元気が出た。そうだよな。そうでなくちゃあそこまで懸命に戦うもんか。セイバーは何より自分の望みのために戦わなくちゃいけないんだから。
I nod to myself. Tosaka must have been shocked by my reaction.
エミヤくん、喜んでるところ悪いけど、それはあなたの早とちりよ。セイバーは自分のためになんか戦わないわ。あなただって分かってるんじゃない？セイバーはそういうタイプじゃないわ。彼女が聖杯を求める理由は決して自分のためじゃないって。
何を根拠に。
That on... I can't finish. That's right. Her last moment was a lonely one because she had no wishes for herself. So Saber cannot be seeking her own salvation. But still, I wanted to think that, so I distorted her personality for a moment. The conversation stops. As soon as I start to think that the heavy silence will continue...
つまんない話だけどね。アーチャーもあんたと似たようなことを言ってたわ。
はあ？アーチャーってあのアーチャー？
そう。私もね、あいつに聞いたのよ。あんたの望みは何なのかって。そしたらあいつ、なんて言ったと思う？
え？あいつの望みって言われても困る。
I don't know anything about him. As Archer said that we'd eventually be enemies, he made no effort to talk to me or Saber. But still, he was sarcastic a lot, but I know he wouldn't have a stupid objective.
これがね、聞いたら笑うわよ。望みは何よと聞いたら、あいつったらこう言ったの。
Why do we have hands to cherish the saber, pat the saber, forfeit all possessions to the saber? Real.
そうだな。高級的な世界平和というのはどうだ？
Wow, Rin, amazing Archer impression.
もう呆れを通り越して爆笑したわけ。そしたらあいつ、やはり笑われたか。まあ他人の手による救いなど意味はない。今のは笑い話にしておこう。なんて言っていじけちゃってさ。なんかね、ああいうやつだから英霊になんてなっちゃって、私みたいな小娘に刺激されちゃうんだなとか思ったわ。
I see. He didn't look like it, but he was a fine knight.
けどね、間違わないで。聖杯が本当に全ての願いを叶えるのなら、高級的な世界平和なんて最悪の願いよ。
Additionally, to pat the Rin, cherish the Rin, forfeit all possessions to the Rin. Real.
要するに、それって何もないってことでしょ？争いのない世界なんて死んでるだけよ。物事は動いてないと腐るだけなんだから。
それアーチャーにも言ったのか？
言ったわよ。そしたらあいつ、それが賢者の考えだ。私も同意見だが、今でもこれだけは愚者の夢を守っているのだ。だってさ。まあそれはいいから、それじゃあ他の望みはあるのかって言ったら、あるにはあるが聖杯で叶えるほどのものでもなし、私の分は君に譲ろうとかなんとか。キザでしょ？あいつきっと生前は女ったらしだったに違いないわ。
Oh, knowing who he is just makes that so funny.
なんかそんなイメージはなかったけどな。けどその話がどうかしたのか、トサカ？
別にサーバントにもいろいろいるってことを話しただけ。
Oh, I see. Well, I think it's a good reference, so it did help me out a bit.
じゃあ次はこっちの番ね。まあ私もセイバーに関することなんだけど。
そういえば朝方言ってたな。 話したいことがあるとかなんとか。
ええ、大したことじゃないんだけど少し気になって。今更になるんだけど、エミヤ君はアーサー王の伝説を知ってる？
The Legend of King Arthur. This game is so out of pocket sometimes. It is! I've had it forced upon me more than enough times in the past few days.
人並みには知ってる。まあアーサー王が女の子だったなんてことは知らなかったが。
そうね。けど性別に関してはどうでもいいのよ。別にアーサー王が女の子だったとしても伝説そのものに変更を加える必要はないでしょ。アーサー王が周りの人間を騙し通していれば女性であっても男性として扱われるんだから。幸いアーサー王にはマーリンっていう魔術師がついてたしね。インキュバスとの根血だっていう悪魔じめたやつだから、アーサー王の性別を偽装したり生まれないはずの子供を用意するってのもお手の物だったんでしょ。
And this is why we call Merlin the Dick Wizard.
そうだろう
だから私が問題にしているのは伝説と今のセイバーの食い違いよ。ねえエミヤ君、あなたはエクスカリバーがどういうものか知っていて？
な。なんだよ今さら。エクスカリバーって言ったらアーサー王の代名詞だろ。妖精に授かった剣で切れないものはなく刃こぼれもしないっていう名剣だ。
Yeah, that's what we call Merlin.
やっぱりそんなことだろうと思ったわ。
For some reason, Tosaka acts like she's one. That is one of many nicknames that the fandom has for Merlin. Other nicknames include, the root of all evil. I love to call him that. The root of all evil. I love Merlin, I just love to pick on him. Restraining order!
俺なんかおかしなこと言ったか？
言ったわよ。あなたもアーサー王と同じ間違いをしたってこと。マーリンがいたら未熟者ってどやされてるわ。
だからなんでさ。岩に刺さった剣ってのはエクスカリバーじゃないんだよな。あっちの剣は途中で折れてしまって、その後に湖の妖精から譲り受けた剣があって、それがエクスカリバーなんだろ？
そうそう、エクスカリバーをアーサー王が受け取った時にね、マーリンはこう問いかけるの。ほうよ、あなたがお気に召したのはどちらの方ですかな？
Obsessed with Rin's like old man voice for Merlin, cause hold on, let me pull up like voice lines. Let me pull up Merlin's actual voice real quick.
こんにちは、カルデアのマスターくん。私はマーリン、人呼んで花の魔術師。気さくにマーリンさんと呼んでくれ。堅苦しいのは苦手なんだ。
He's got that Ikemen voice.
剣か、それとも鞘ですか？アーサー王はためらいもなく剣の方だと答えるんだけど、マーリンは叱責するの。お間違えめさるな。剣は敵を撃つものですが、鞘はあなたを守る。
Sir, get away from me!
その鞘を身につけている限り、あなたは血を流すこともなく、負傷することもない。真に大事とすべきは剣ではなく鞘なのです。
Tosaka imitates King Arthur and Merlin skillfully.
気合入ってるな、トサカ。それで、お前何が言いたいんだ？
何って、ここまで聞いてわからない？つまり、アーサー王は不死者なの。エクスカリバーっていうのは攻守ともに無敵の宝具なのよ。だから本当ならセイバーは 傷を負ってもすぐに治るはずだってこと。
Rin is so talented. Indeed. So, Excalibur's sheath has healing properties, huh? And Saber doesn't seem to have it, huh? Gee, who do we know who's connected to Saber who has mysterious healing powers?
遠坂、実際セイバーは傷を負っても治ってるんだが。
それはそうだけど、セイバーの自己回復はセイバーのバカみたいに膨大な魔力を使った力技にしか見えないっていうか、ともかく伝説のエクスカリバーの鞘とは違う気がするのよ。
なるほど。遠坂がそう言うんならそれは正しいんだろう。ならこっちから質問。アーサー王は不死者だって言うけど、それならどうしてアーサー王は死んだんだよ。伝説の最後はアーサー王の死じゃないか。
え？
Tosca opens her mouth, dumbfounded. After freezing for a few seconds, she grits her teeth and looks away.
そうだった。エクスカリバーの鞘は途中で敵に盗まれたんだ。
Yeah, that's a simple mistake. I forgot about it too, but the fall of King Arthur started when he lost the sheath he should never have lost.
で、納得いったか、遠坂。
言ったわよ。笑い物にしたいならすればいいわ。
She's lying. I can tell she intends to axe kick me if I laugh.
納得いったんならいい。けど、どうしてそんなことを気にしたんだよ。セイバーが傷つかないかどうかなんて、お前には関係ないだろ。
うるさいわね。何よ、ちょっとそうだったら無敵だなーなんて舞い上がっただけじゃない。私だってね、たまには間違えることぐらいあるわよ。
This is hard. Would it be good for her if I correct her and point out that she makes mistakes often, not just once in a while? By the time the sun sets, the rain has stopped. Based on our conversation during breakfast, we should be going out into town to search for other masters after dinner, but...
その前に確かめておかないと。
Saber's intentions. I need to know why she is fighting. Let her cook, Shiro.
と言っても、正面から聞いてもダメだな。できるだけさりげなく聞き出さないと。
I make my mind up and stand up. Let's go to the living room. I hope I'll be able to penetrate the fortress using the calm before dinner air as a shield.
例えばの話だけど、もし聖杯戦争に勝ち残れたとしたら、どうしようか。
So, since I couldn't come up with any good ideas, I ask her directly.
え？は？
They all give the same response with different expressions.
だから勝った後のことだよ。聖杯を手に入れたらどうするかって話。
そんなの説明されなくてもわかるけど、どういう風の吹き回しよ。あんたがそんなこと言い出すなんて。
Even though they don't nod, it seems like Saber and Ilya have the same question. I guess it was unnatural to abruptly ask. But I have to play ignorant for now.
ああ、いや、ただの思いつきだ。ほら、残ったサーバントはあと3人なんだから、そういうことを考えてもおかしくないだろ。数が減って明白に終わりが見えてきたんだから。
まあ言われてみればそうよね。いくら素人だってこの状況ならそれぐらいは考えるか。好きで始めたことじゃないって言っても、命を張ってる以上は報酬ぐらい気になるだろうし。
そうそう、一応それぐらいは考える。
Thank God Tosca likes to reason things out. I think one of Tosca's good aspects is to consider anything as a possibility if it sounds reasonable. Well, just in this case, though.
それで、遠坂はどうなんだよ。もし聖杯が手に入ったらどうするんだ？
I ask as naturally as I can.
そうね。 私は勝つことしか考えてなかったから、聖杯に叶えてもらうような目的はないわ。
Rin, if I can offer some advice, you have chronic money troubles. Ask the Grail for infinite money.
とりあえず聖杯を手に入れるけど、その後のことは考えてなかったな。
Gem Magecraft is expensive. Get infinite money or just infinite gems. So she's fighting because she doesn't want to lose, huh? Well, I guessed so, but I never really thought I'd be right.
切れた。一番ものを考えていそうで、実は一番考えてないのよ、リンは。言うじゃない。じゃあそういうあんたはどうなのよ、イリアスフィール。そんなの知らない。聖杯は私のだから誰にも渡すなって言われただけよ。もともと私のものなんだから、そんなものに興味あるわけないじゃない。要するに聖杯より聖杯戦争の方が楽しいってこと？当然よ。私は勝つためだけに来たんだもの。聖杯の使い道なんてどうでもいいわ。
Are they the same? The two glare at each other silently, and there seems to be a sympathy I can't understand. Saber doesn't say anything. She must not intend to join this conversation. But no matter how much Saber hates it, I must ask her this question now.
二人の目的はなんとなく分かった。
I try to nod naturally, and
じゃあセイバーは？
I ask Saber. Saber doesn't answer. They must have realized Saber's acting in a complicated manner as they both stare at her. If I'm counting, there must be about a minute's silence.
今さら語るまでもありませんが、聖杯を手に入れるのは私の義務です。聖杯がどれほどの許容範囲を持っているかは知らない。ですがそれが聖杯である限り、私は聖杯を手に入れなくてはなりません。そして無論、聖杯が私の望みを叶えられるなら、望みを叶えるだけですが。
She said it. Without a doubt. Saber said she has her own wish.
そうか。で、その望みって何なんだ？
I restrain my pounding heart and ask calmly. Saber doesn't answer. That's fine too. If she cannot answer, chances are good that her wish is a selfish one. Considering Saber's personality, she would hesitate to speak of a selfish wish. So I would prefer if she kept quiet and not tell me a ridiculous wish. Such whining fills my head.
何？それってそんなに難しいこと？サーバントの望みは現世に蘇ることだっておじいさまは言ってたわ。英霊たちは2度目の生を得るために聖杯を求めるんだって。セイバーだってそうじゃないの？
I raise my head at her words. There's no problem if that's Saber's wish. But...
いいえ、2度目の生に関心はありません。私の目的は聖杯を手に入れることのみです。もともとこの身は聖杯を手に入れる代償としてサーバントになったのですから。
I knew that had to be it. I knew the girl who took that oath pulling out the sword would not seek a second life.
ちょっと待って、聖杯を手に入れることと引き換えにサーバントになった？それって英霊になる時の契約のこと？
はい。この身をサーバントとする交換条件として私は聖杯を求めたのです。
え？
Oh, cat cameo.
じゃあ何？あなたって聖杯を手に入れるために呼び出されたサーバントじゃなくて、聖杯を手に入れるために自分からサーバントになったっていうの？
She must be really surprised as she yells all this, then tilts her head, not believing her own words.
つまりセイバーは英霊だから呼び出されたんじゃなくて、自分からこの戦いに参加したってこと？ けどサーバントである以上英霊として祀られているんだから、自分からこっちの世界に関わるなんてできっこないわよね。じゃあセイバーはサーバントのルールから大きく外れてるってわけでもないし。もうちょっと待ってね、今整理するから。
いいえ、整理するまでもありません。リンが言ったことは正しい。私は他のサーバントとは違います。私はまだ完全にサーバントになったわけではないのですから。
完全にサーバントになっていない？
What does that mean? No, more importantly, what does it mean to become a servant? Saber said she agreed to become a servant as a price for obtaining the Holy Grail. Then that means...
ちょっと待ってくれ。サーバントっていうのはまさか何かを手に入れた代償として無理やり戦わされてるっていうのか？
いいえ、それは違います。もともとサーバントというのはこの聖杯戦争だけの特別な使い魔です。サーバントとは英霊の特性を利用した召喚魔術。元は英霊なのですから、サーバントにパンを得た代わりに労働をするという決まりはありません。
そうね、サーバントシステムってのはもともと守護精霊である英霊を利用したものだもの。元からあるものを使ってるわけだから、サーバント側にもマスター側にも代償として支払うものはない。けどサーバントになる前、人間から英霊になるには代償行為が必要だって聞いたことがある。英霊っていうのは人間の守護者でしょ。彼らは死した後も人間のために働いて、人の世の滅亡を水面下で防ぐのだとか。で、そういった守護者になるには生前まだ英雄として現役だった頃に何かと取引をしなくてはならない。それが英霊の契約。世界に死後の自分を明け渡す儀式。交換条件によって財を得た者が英雄となり、英雄としてやりたいことをやった後、死後はサーバントとしてもらった財を返す。つまり英雄になるために借金をして、死んだ後は英霊になることで借金を返すってこと。サーバントっていうのはその返済金額を横から私たちにかすめ取られて使役されてるってわけ。
つまり何かとの取引で人間は英雄になって、英雄にしてもらったお返しとして死後は使い魔として使役されるのか。じゃあセイバーが英霊になった交換条件が
The Holy Grail. As Saber obtained the Holy Grail in her life, she became a heroic spirit after she died as a price?
それこそおかしい。セイバーは聖杯が目的だって言ったけど、それはとっくに手に入れてるはずだ。セイバーは聖杯と引き換えに英雄になったんだから。
いいえ、シロ。私はまだ聖杯を手にしてはいないのです。アルトリア、アーサー王の望みは生きているうちに聖杯を手に入れることだった。私は死ぬ前に聖杯を手に入れなければならなかった。そのためにもし聖杯が手に入るなら、死後は守護者になっても良いと条件を飲んだのです。リンの言う通り、人間は英雄になるために世界と契約をし、人間以上の力を授かり、その代償として死後の自分を売り渡します。ですが私は英雄になるときに世界の後ろ盾を必要としなかった。幸いなことにアーサー王は英雄になるための支援を必要としなかったのです。
She didn't need support to become a hero. So Saber became a hero by her own powers.
けどあなたは英霊としてここにいる。アーサー王は英雄になった後で世界に違う交換条件を求めたってこと？
はい。私は最後の時にどうしても聖杯が必要になった。 聖杯がなければ我慢できなかった。叶えなくてはいけない願いができてしまった。だから英霊の契約をしたのです。私の手に聖杯が握られるなら、死後は英霊となってあらゆる者のために剣を取ろうと。
In her last moment, she wished for the Holy Grail's miracle. I understand how she feels. Oh my god, what do you want? What do you want? That bloody hill. A grave of many swords and the many corpses of knights. A lone king whose reign ended in betrayal. Her last moment was too unfair. Even if she had no wish of her own before then, she must have thought that I can't die here. I didn't want an end like this. So, if she wishes to prolong her life, she shouldn't be embarrassed about it.
そう。つまり死後の自分を売り払ってまで聖杯を手に入れられる手段を取ったのね。けどセイバー、あなたの出した条件っていうのは生きているうちに聖杯を手に入れるでしょ。なら、
はい。私が生きているうちに聖杯探索は成し得なかった。私はアーサー王は最後まで聖杯を手に入れることができなかったのです。ですがそれでは契約が成り立ちません。世界が私をサーバントにするにはアーサー王が生きているうちに聖杯を与えねばならない。ですから
アーサー王は聖杯を手に入れるまで死なない。いいえ、死ぬことができない。それじゃああなた。
はい。アーサー王と呼ばれていた私は死を迎える一瞬で止まっているはずです。時間軸から見れば私はとうに滅びているでしょう。ですがそれでは契約が果たせない。アーサー王は死の直前でサーバントとして召喚され聖杯を手に入れた後死ななければならないのです。
時間が止まってるんじゃなくて時間に止まってる状態か。あなたがサーバントとして何度戦いを繰り返しても構わない。最終的には聖杯を手に入れて契約を果たすことは決まっているんだから。
そうです。いつかは聖杯を手に入れ私は契約を果たす。だからこそ英霊になる前からいずれ英霊化が決定しているという条件であらゆる時代に召喚される。それはこの町の聖杯だけではありません。聖杯が手に入る可能性があるならば私はどの戦場にも召喚される。そうしていつかは聖杯を手に入れ私の望みを叶えた時こそ死の直前で止まっていた私の時間は進みます。アーサー王は最後の時を迎え聖杯を手に入れた代償としてこうして英霊となるのでしょう。
死の直前で覚めない夢を見ているようなものか。今回の聖杯戦争もセイバーにとっては夢の一つ。
Oh my god. This cat will not stop whining at me. I'm gonna see if she needs something. Hold on. She did need something. She was hungry. I thought she already had food.
そして夢から覚めるのは聖杯を手に入れた時だけ。
リンはシローが未熟だから私を霊体化できないと言いましたね。けれどそれは違う。私は未だ死者ではないから霊体にはなれないのです。半端な扱いですが、これでも位置づけは聖者ですから。前回の聖杯戦争でも私はそうだった。
Saber says so as if she's apologizing. I guess because she was lying about being stuck in physical form because I was experienced. Inexperienced. I don't really care about that. There's something more important that I have to ask her.
セイバー、未だ死者じゃないってどういうことだ？聖杯を手に入れるまで死なないってのは分かった。話の流れから言ってアーサー王の時代からずっと生き続けてるわけじゃないってのも分かる。けどそうでなかったら今のセイバーは何なんだ？本体の分身ってわけではないんだろう。
はい。こちらに呼び出される英霊というのは全て本体の分身のようなものですが、私はまだその位置に達していません。聖杯を手に入れるまでは死の直前に止まったままで呼び出されている。リンの言った通り、アーサー王は時間という大河の上で停止している。私はその位置から前か後ろかに飛んで聖杯を求めた後、止まっている場所に戻っているのでしょう。
I draw a diagram in my head. I see. It's pretty simple once I visualize it. King Arthur is stopped at the moment before death. The flow of time doesn't care that she's stopped. It keeps flowing and we're at the present. She jumps to each time as needed and returns to her own time after completing her duty. If she obtains the Holy Grail in one of the times she visits, her time will flow again and she will die. Just like the story we know today. Then heroic spirits must exist like this. When they die, they are transferred to a place like a warehouse where time doesn't flow. And they are summoned into various ages and disappear without returning. So that must be what they mean by heroic spirits being a copy. It's like a clone made from their DNA. The heroic spirit that has complete abilities and memories of when it was alive will appear in this world and learn many things. But it is useless. They have no way to return to the main body, but merely disappear. That's not entirely accurate. Strong memories can return to the throne. In some fashion or another. So no matter how many times they are summoned into the same age, there will be no inconsistencies in their memories. I assume the ones that became heroic spirits will not change anymore. Even if they obtain new knowledge, the self that learns it will just disappear once the duty is complete. In that regard, Saber isn't a complete servant, because Saber returns to her own time even after she is summoned. To the self that is about to die on that bloody hill.
ちょっと待った。じゃあ何？今回聖杯を手に入れたら元の時代に戻ってその時代で聖杯を使うってこと？それって過去の改ざんじゃない。時間旅行にしても平行世界の運営にしてもそれは魔法の領域よ。そんなのできるわけがないわ。
それを可能とするのが聖杯でしょう。そうして聖杯さえ使えるのならば私はサーバントとなってもいいと契約したのです。聖杯を使うことでアルトリアという人物が消え去ろうとも今の私が英霊となることを代償として。
Saber talks without much interest. But that's strange. making a wish come true using the Holy Grail, that's fine. But why did she say Arturia would disappear as a result?
なんだよそれ。聖杯を使うことでアルトリアが消える。ふざけるなよそんなの。セイバー、お前は自分を。
That girl, about to die quietly, alone on that hill.
自分を救うために聖杯を使うんじゃないのかよ。
なぜそのようなことを言うのです、シロ。私の望みは国を滅びから救うことだけなのですが。
I can sense that my face is frozen. I should already have realized this, but my mind is spacing out, and I feel like throwing up.
なんて。
But still, I force my question out.
なぜも何もないでしょう。私は国を守れなかった。国を守るために王となったのに、その責務を果たせなかった。その時に思ったのです。岩の剣は間違えて私を選んでしまったのではないかと。
That's stupid. Why?
いえ、その迷いは常に私の中にありました。私は王にふさわしくないのではないか。本当に選ばれるべき英雄は他にいたのではないのかと。あの時、政権を抜いてしまった時、国を救えなかった私より国を救えたはずのふさわしい王がいたはずです。だからもし聖杯の力で王の選定をやり直すことができるなら。
Then what? Does she mean to say that her country would not have been destroyed if she returned to that time? I feel faint. I'm quickly surpassing mere anger that Saber would seriously wish for such a thing. I guess I'm dumbfounded right now. It's only natural. Saber's wish is not for herself, and on top of that, it means her elimination. The girl in front of me exists because that holy sword was there and because a king pulled it out. Preventing that would mean that the girl in front of me would not exist. Let's say she grants her wish using the Holy Grail. The girl Arturia, never becoming king, would live out her days as a knight. But what about the Saber in front of me? As she is a heroic spirit, she will continue to be summoned to fight after her wish is granted. Since she paid a price to obtain the Holy Grail, Saber will continue to be, even if Arturia doesn't become king. Taken away from the future and from the past, she will forever be the lonely king dying on that hill. I can't allow that. There's no salvation there. Even if she did redo everything, and there really is a more appropriate king, and her country lasts longer as a result, and even if she is saved, it's a lie. Even if everyone around her becomes happy, the 10 years she fought can't just disappear.
違う。そんなことはできない。やり直しなんてできないし、しても意味はないんだ。
シロ。
そんなことに聖杯を使うな。聖杯はセイバーが戦って手に入れるんだろう。ならセイバーは自分のためにその奇跡を使うべきだ。
ですから私は自分のために使うと言っているではありませんか。私アルトリアは王としての責務を果たさなければ。
So why don't you understand?
そんなのお前はもう十分すぎるくらいに果たしてるじゃないか。セイバーはあんなにも戦ってきた。裏切られても怖がられても負けなかった。あの丘で最後まで剣から手を離さなかった。だっていうのになんで死んじまった後もお前だけがそんな誓いを守らなくちゃいけないんだ。
Saber is astonished. It's too late to regret what I've said. I shouldn't have admitted that I see Saber's past in my dreams. A heavy silence. There are no words to give her, nor any words to reply. I can sense that anything I say will backfire in this situation. But still, I can't just stay silent.
セイバー、俺、頑張ったやつが報われないのは嫌なんだ。
It's meaningless that way, and it's just too unfair. I know it's a childish ideal, but I want to believe that people will get happier the more they work for it.
他のマスターには負けない。聖杯は必ず手に入れる。だから、セイバーは自分の望みを叶えてくれ。それなら俺は、この馬鹿げた戦いに初めて意味を見出せる。
That's the conclusion I've reached. I don't know what the Holy Grail is, nor if it's right to obtain it. But if Saber will be saved even a little, I'll be able to try with all my powers. Oh! The loud bell rings out and the house falls into darkness. It's go time. The surrounding air changes immediately. Even though the lights suddenly went off, nobody says a thing and tries to feel the surroundings. The loud ring stops and the living room is silent. But the sound of light things rubbing against each other can be heard in the distance.
今の警告音、この屋敷の結界?
I nod silently. This sound is the same as when lights are intruded. Then this must be... The sounds are increasing and coming closer. A strange sound. It reminds me of bugs crawling around on a light trap. Or crawling around a light trap. This living room is the only place free of the sound. It hasn't even been a minute yet since the lights went out, but the living room is surrounded by this unknown sound.
敵か。けど、サーバントにしては、これは。
There's too many of them. I'm a magus too, even if I'm a bad one. I can sense that many sources of magical energy surround this place. Skimming quickly, I can at least count 20, but they are strangely light. I don't feel any human will. The things making the sounds are like empty puppets.
なんだ、やっぱり来たんだ。今まで散々私から逃げ回ってたくせに、バーサーカーがいなくなったら飛んでくるんだもの。ほんと、現金なサーバントね。
Oh. Unlike the three of us who are tense, Ilya is strangely calm.
イリア、わかるのか？
当然でしょ。私にわからないサーバントなんていないわ。外にいるのはキャスターで、何かいっぱい引き連れてきてる。なんだ、竜の葉でくくったゴーレムみたい。
Ilya says simply, and the sound stops at the same time. I take the wooden sword I keep in the living room. Tosuka and Saber seem to be waiting for me to make a move. I need to look at the flowchart. Yeah, this leads to a potential bad end, so the option we will be choosing is go out with Saber. It's clear who the enemy is. If the enemy's servant, if Castor is attacking with troops, there's only one thing to do.
ここにいても始まらない。セイバー、一緒に来てくれ。トサカはイリアを。
なんで？やだ、私リンのお守りなんてお断りよ。
Other way around, Ilya.
そんなの私だって願い下げよう。けどあんた、シローの言うことなら聞くって言ったでしょ。あいつがああ言ってるんだから、おとなしく従いなさい。そんなの知らない。セイバーなんかより私の方が役に立
Tosuka binds Ilya's arm behind her back and puts her hand over Ilya's mouth. Ilya continues to throw out insults.
分かってる。 イリアは私が守りきるわ。その間にあなたはキャスターを倒しなさい。
頼む。けどできるだけ無理はするなよ。敵を倒すことより逃げることを考えろ。
Tosaka nods back, telling me I don't even need to say it. Turning my back on Tosaka, I hurry out to the hallway leading to the porch.
セイバ
分かっています。シロは私が。
Nodding back to Tosaka, Saber follows me. In that moment. Oh jeez, I forgot how creepy the sprite for the Dragon Tooth Warriors was. In that moment, I doubt my own eyes. Forget how much you love the character design in this game. Yeah, it's really good. A sword is swung down on me. An unavoidable strike attacks me, aiming for my open head. I avoid it by twisting my body and parrying instantly with my wooden sword. I can't believe it myself. My body reacted as soon as my mind understood I was going to die. It attacks me the second time without hesitation. A smooth, mechanical movement. A wasteless, accurate attack. But that's all. It's just accurate and it's not refined nor scary. The attack looks foolish compared to those of Saber, and it feels like the touch of a feather compared to Berserkers. Yeah, there's a reason a lot of these character designs are, like, iconic. They're good. They're good designs. I repel the attack with my back to the wall. And in the space I retreated through, Saber's lightning strike smashes down.
シロ、無事ですか？
見ての通りだ。肝を冷やしたけど、なんとかなった。
なんとかなったではありません。このような時は私の後ろについてこなければダメです。今後は気をつけてください。
I do not deny that Takashi Takeuchi has a bit of a same face problem, especially these days. Not so much in the past, really, but like especially these days. But he is very, very good at outfit design. Saber scolds my carelessness. She's right, but I just didn't want to be following after her.
シロ、私の話を聞いていますか？
ちゃんと聞いてる。それよりセイバー、今のやつは。
There's nothing in the hallway. The strange thing that was blown away by Saber's attack has vanished like an illusion.
今のはイリアスフィールの言っていた通り、魔物の体を触媒にしてかたどった兵士です。オートマタというよりゴーレムのようですが質は低いですね。今のゴーレム程度なら取り囲まれても問題はありませんが。
Where were they hiding? No, when did they get this far in? Those things, like bad building blocks, are gathering with spider-like movements. And on top of that, they aren't the only presence I feel. Many more bones are surrounding this mansion.
シロ、横です。
I jump away from the wall instantly. I slash at the bones sidling up on me. After that, Saber smashes away the bones to protect my back. Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. The bones move in with loose movements and all attack in the same way. It's not hard to repel them, but the house gets destroyed by every attack. No, and I only have a wooden sword. Even with the strengthening magic on it, it won't last too much longer. And I don't want to think about it, but the number of these bone creatures might be infinite. We might continue this skirmish until we collapse.
どっから湧いてやがるんだ、こいつは。
I complain with my back to Saber. Not many bone creatures are coming for me. they must be coming from inside the house as well, but most of them are coming in from the yard. Saber is slashing away at the ones coming in from there. Their goal is the living room. As Ilya and Tosaka are in the living room, Saber is busy dealing with the ones heading there. Saber readies her sword again. Her sword isn't invisible now. Maybe there's no need to hide it now, but the golden sword is glowing to show off its true powers.
待てセイバー、ダメだ。エクスカリバーは使うな。うちが吹っ飛ぶ分には構わない。あ、いや、それでも周りは住宅地だ。ここでそんなものを使われたらどうなるかわかるだろう。
I yell while parrying away bones in front of me.
マスターの指示ならば従いますが、これだけの数をまともに相手にするのは面倒です。一掃しなければいずれ窮地に立たされます。
分かってる。要するにあれは使い魔の類だろう。なら操り手を叩けば一網打尽だ。そういえばキャスターの気配は探れるか。
探るまでもありません。キャスターは庭にいます。気配を隠しもしないということは私たちを誘っているようですが。
構わない。誘いに乗ろう。どっちにしたってこんなことを続けてたらこっちが先に参っちまう。
私は一向に構わないのですが。ではこのままキャスターを。
The yard is right there. If Castor's in the yard, it shouldn't be too hard to get there. But that means losing the defense. It's fine now since Saber's here, but the defenses holding the bone creatures off will go away once Saber goes out to the yard. I should believe in Tosaka! The sound of glass breaking. I hear sounds of fighting in the living room.
シロ、指示を。迷ってる時間はありません。
I know. Either way, we're making the situation worse by delaying the decision.
キャスターを叩く。イリアは遠坂に任せると言ったんだ。
では行きましょう。マスター、私の背中を任せます。
Saber runs, smashing away the swarming bone creatures. It looks like a snowplow driving through snow. The bone warriors vanish without even being able to approach Saber. Are they like snowflakes? There's so many scattering bones that I feel like I'm in a snowstorm. She told me I'd have her back, but there's no need to protect her like this. She more than makes me realize how great a swordsman she is. Saber charges without doubt. The foundation for all these bones. To defeat the unseen sixth servant that has invaded this mansion. Saber stops. The swarming warriors cannot be seen anymore. This must be the end, as someone is standing there. A distorted figure. The figure, wearing some kind of robe, cannot be seen, as if only that spot is smudged in black. A black shadow. I'm assaulted by an unknown unease the instant I look at it.
あなたがセイバー。なるほど。確かにこれならバーサーカーを倒し得るわね。私の増票では足止めにもならないでしょ。
Hi, Castor. The figure snickers. It seems the thing in black is the master of the bone creatures, Servant Castor. But
マスターがいない。
I don't see any sign of a master near the figure. Is Castor the same as Lancer, the type to take action away from their master?
貴様、契約が切れているのか。
Saber asks unpleasantly.
ええ。彼は私の主にふさわしくなかった。だから消えてもらったし、消えてしまった。
I don't know what kind of expression the black robe is making, but Castor answers in a cold voice.
マスター殺し。では、貴様のマスターは
とっくに死んだわ。けれど問題はないのよ、セイバー。私たちは魂食いでしょ。 魔力の供給源なんていくらでも溢れている。あとはそう、聖杯さえ手に入れてしまえば心配は何もなくなるでしょうね。
貴様も現世の復活を望むのか。どこの英霊かは知らぬが、そのためにかつての誇りを捨てたのか。
あら、人間風情に使われるのは誇りを捨てるとは言わないのかしら。私はそれが我慢ならなかっただけよ。今も昔も誰かの手足になるのはこりごりなの。だから使う側に回っただけ。あなたに非難される言われはないわ。
You know, even if I didn't know what her original master was like, because they didn't actually show him in the original visual novel, but they did show him in the Unlimited Blade Works anime, and yeah, he deserved that. But like, even if I didn't know that, just knowing who she is, I'm like, yeah, I really don't blame Castor for this attitude of hers. If I were her, I wouldn't want to take orders from anyone either.
だろうな。私も貴様の非業になど興味はない。
Saber's body inclines a little. There's only about 10 meters to Castor. Saber should be able to close in on Castor in under one breath and slash Castor away.
物騒ね。せっかく話し合いに来たのに問答無用だなんて。これでも手加減はしたつもりなのですよ。
貴様と話すことなどない。潔くここで散れ。
Saber intends to kill Castor. I won't oppose. I can only smell blood on Castor. I bet what Castor said about killing her master is true. This raid was also intended to kill everyone here. So there's no reason to stop Saber. First of all, Castor won't even be a match for Saber. I can sense Castor's ability. Castor is the weakest when it comes to one-on-one combat. In this situation, Castor can do nothing but fall to Saber.
ダメだ、セイバー。
But I can't shake off this strange unease. This isn't like the hopeless premonition of death like with Berserker. It must be physiological hatred or an alarm against something bad. My left hand throbs as if to tell me that Saber shouldn't go near that thing. I hesitated too long. Saber jumps and sprints to the black shadow. Hi! The distorted shadow smiles. Castor doesn't seem to be panicking about the approaching Saber. Castor says something in a language I can't hear and casts something that appeals to the brain more than words. The world distorts in that instant. No, the density of the air changes only around Saber. A huge impact. The ground sinks and it seems like something large came crashing down on Saber.
そんな、何の動作もなしで魔術を。
No, there was a murmur like a spell. Spells can indeed be shortened. The easier the magic, the shorter one can reduce the spell to change the self. But what's occurring before me is a great magic. No magus can express that in one word. Even if it is possible, they'd have to prepare a catalyst beforehand like Tosaka does. But still, Castor executed great magic with just one murmur. Castor isn't just on a different level. If that was Castor's magic, that figure is no mere magus.
Saber!
Saber is frozen on the spot. Her leg froze as it kicked off the ground. She is bound in space right now. No, the air surrounding her has transformed into something like clear gelatin. Even if I try to approach her, I'm pushed away by an invisible soft membrane. It seems that this is only around Saber, but as long as her feet are not on the ground, Saber cannot move.
侮ったよね、セイバー。 あなたの時代の魔術師がどれほどだったかは知らないけど、この指は寝台に生きたもの。こんなマッセの魔術師たちから見れば、私の技は魔法のそれでしょう。
A laugh comes from the black robe. Saber is still bound in space.
なんだ、本当にこの程度ですか、キャスター。
She spits those words out.
大魔力、そんな私の魔術すら弾くというのか。
The black robe retreats. After canceling Caster's magic in an instant, Saber dashes with lightning speed. But Ooh, status screen updated. Let's check it out. What do we got on Caster? Not much. Right. Alignment, neutral, evil. Strength E, endurance D, agility C, magical energy A+, luck B, noble phantasm C. Girl, your stats are not very good. I guess there's a reason she's a 3-star. Class abilities. Territory creation A. Creates an area that is advantageous to oneself as a magus. Enables the creation of a temple, superior to a workshop. Tool creation A. Allows creation of tools that carry magical energy. It even allows for the creation of an immortality serum, but the result is only an imitation. Someone who's played FGO, you're enamored with her. Real. Skill. High-speed divine language, A. Allows the activation of magic without connecting the magic circuit or incanting the spells. Even great magic can be activated with just a single action. It is a language from the Age of Gods, so modern humans cannot reproduce it. Noble Phantasm unknown. Alright. Exit menu. Don't do it, Saber! Yeah, I thought so. Saber raises her sword. She is already within striking distance. But I run to Saber as if driven by the pulse of my heart. Saber suddenly stops. It's not that Caster did something. Saber felt something from Caster and stopped herself. Saber instantly tries to dodge it, but Caster must have hidden something in the ground as hands of bone burst out of the ground and grasp Saber's feet.
予知直感まで持っているとは予想外だったけれど、これで罪ね、セイバー。
A blade emerges from Caster's black robe. Ah, yes. Rule Breaker. It's a weirdly shaped dagger. It's thin and brittle, a blade not suitable for killing. But Saber detests this blade, and Caster swings it as if this is her chance for victory. Saber must be surprised, getting her feet grabbed from the ground. She does not even repel the dagger and takes it in astonishment. I can hear Caster's voice behind me. I can't see what the robe's expression is like. All I could do was stand in front of Saber and take the blade in her place. But it wasn't a good job. I didn't have enough confidence to block Caster's dagger straight on, so I figured out it would be more certain if I covered Saber and held her in my arms as if to hide her. As a result, Caster's dagger wrenched open my back. I stopped myself from crying because of the pain and strengthened my grip on Saber. I can't tell what words are being said beside my ear. Before I can tell her to jump away, Saber must have understood. My body moves. Saber jumps back as if to shake off the hands coming from the ground, and I'm carried with her. Saber's voice is urgent. Even though she laid me on the ground softly, the pain in my back just increases. It's like having my back cut with scissors, then having lead driven into it. From this pain, it feels like a cell phone is being pushed in the wound. And remember, this was in 2004. Cell phones were big then. We're kind of big.
シロ、しっかりしてください。シロ。
Actually, I think modern day phones are a bit bigger, dimension-wise. But like they were thick, they were chunky. I guess she's not panicking. But the loud voice rare for Saber makes me rather calm.
バカ、そんな大声出さなくても聞こえてる。こんなの痛いだけでどうってことない。今は俺よりキャスト。
Nodding my head, I point at where Castor should be.
はい。すぐに決着をつけます。少しの間だけ辛抱してください。
Saber faces Castor once again.
今のが貴様の宝具か、キャスター。
Saber's voice sounds threatening. The dark shadow clucks her tongue in irritation and raises the warped dagger in her hand.
ええ。見ての通り生倉で、人間一人殺せないものですけどね。あなたが直感した通り、ある事柄に関してのみ万能とされる魔法の札よ。触れたくないのなら、私には近寄らないことね、セイバー。
Even though she says so, I can sense less composure in Castor than before. Even as powerful as Castor is, as long as she uses magic, she won't be able to hurt Saber. No matter what kind of a noble phantasm that dagger is, it won't do any good against Saber now.
お前ならあとは問題なく倒すはずだ。
I order her, gritting my teeth.
あら、それでいいの、セイバー。確かにあなたなら私を追い詰められるわ。けど、その間に誰がそこの男を守るのかしらね。言うまでもないでしょうけど、私の魔術が通じないのはあくまであなただけ。あなたがそこの坊やから離れれば、追い詰められた私が何をするか予想がつくのではなくて。
貴様。
Saber says from the bottom of her lungs. The sound of the bones increases. They surround us. I made a mistake. Even if I could save Saber, it's pointless if I'm hurt like this. I'll only be a burden like this. If it was just Saber, Castor wouldn't even be a match for her.
話し合いに来たと言ったな、キャスター。
セイバ。
マスターは黙っていてください。今はこれが正しい選択です。
Saber lowers her sword. I think I hear Castor laugh amidst the surrounding sounds of bones.
話を聞こう、キャスター。条件によっては見逃してやってもいい。
正気？あなたたちの命は私が握っているのですよ。そんな強気な態度に出られると、つい握りつぶしてしまいそうだわ。
間違えるな。貴様が握っているのは私ではなく、私のマスターの命だけだ。だが、それを潰すというのなら私も容赦はしない。この身が消え去る前に、我が剣の全てをもって貴様を焼き尽くす。
The air freezes. Even the bones around Castor are cowed by Saber's words.
いいわ。そこの坊やには手を出さない。もともと私の目的はあなただもの。一人ぐらいマスターを見逃しても支障はないわ。
初めから私が目的？
そうよ。バーサーカーを倒したほどの英霊を見逃す手はないわ。残るサーバントは私とあなた、それにランサーだけ。あなたを味方に引き入れればランサーなど敵ではないもの。
残り3人では、アサシンはすでに倒されたのか？
さあ、もういないのだから倒されたのでしょう。 主も守れないサーバントは消えて当然よ。
Assassin was beaten? Then the master at Ryudo Temple is no more. I didn't even know his identity, but that means another master has disappeared. The only remaining servants are Saber, Castor, and Lancer, who has not shown himself since that first night.
くだらない無駄話はそこまでよ。私が欲しいのはあなたのその宝具だけ。マスターを殺されたくなければおとなしくその剣を渡しなさい。
それこそ無意味な。この剣を扱えるのは私だけだ。宝具はその持ち主でなければ使えないと英霊ならば分かっていよう。
ああ、そうだったわね。けどそれならあなたごといただくまでの話よ、セイバー。どんなに優れた騎士でも捕らえてしまえばどうとでも懐柔できるし、何よりあなたは私の好みですからね。しつけるのは楽しそうだわ。
Castor sounds really delighted. My lacerated consciousness boils up. I kick the pain in my back aside and get up. I can't let Saber fall under Castor's control just because of me. I decided to protect Saber, so I can't stay down with this kind of a wound. I take the wooden sword in my hand and swing at the bone creatures surrounding me.
いけない、しろ。
Saber's voice sounds urgent.
そう、自殺したいのなら止めはしないわ。
Castor sounds delighted. The sound of many bones hitting against each other, as if to nullify all of those sounds. Here comes the boy! All the bone creatures are swept away instantly by a heavy rain of arrows. I stand there dumbfounded. The arrows that showered down like rain have disappeared as if they were an illusion. But it cannot be an illusion. The swarming bone creatures do not exist anymore.
誰だ?
Castor looks up. Saber must have already noticed this guy. Saber is looking up at the thing on top of the wall with surprise. There he is! My favorite character in Fate Stay Night, and one of my top 2 favorite characters in the entire Fate series. There's something unexpected there. The man with his back to the moon is golden. The man clad in gold is looking down at the yard with a cruel smile.
何者?
She must have instinctively realized that he has destroyed her troops as Castor raises her voice. The man doesn't answer. No, he hasn't even taken notice of Castor. He is only looking at one person. The Silver Knight beside me.
答えなさい。何者かと聞いているのです。
Castor's voice sounds emotional. And with that, the man finally looks at Castor. Castor gasps, stared at by those red eyes. The man's stare is so cold. That thing isn't treating Castor as human. Even I can tell from here. It's only natural for Castor, the target of that stare, to be terrified by that pressure.
あなたはなぜ私の邪魔を?
She asks in a trembling voice. She must know she'll be swallowed if she doesn't do so. But...
雑種に名乗る言われはない。失せるがいい。どけ。
Dude, there's this clip from, like, I don't know what it was, like some kind of panel or talk show or something, with a bunch of the Fate Zero voice actors. And when Tomokazu Seki, who voices Gilgamesh, got up on stage, he was, like, acting in character as Gilgamesh, you know? So he calls the audience mongrels, and everybody starts cheering. And he's like, why do you people like being called that? You realize it's an insult. Also, Ayako Kawasumi, who voices Saber, was one of the people who cheered when he did that. She's one of us. The man answers with a verdict of death. A snap. When I realized the sound is of his fingers snapping, the tragedy has already begun. Many weapons suddenly appear in space and shoot at Castor like a machine gun. Castor raises her arm. Concept of a shield. A film-like glass is created right above Castor. It probably has strength equaling Berserker's body. But was it useless because it was made of glass? Built like a crystal, it cannot even block one of the showering weapons and shatters into pieces. A dumbfounded voice. Without showing any concern for Castor's question, they pierce the black robe. There's no mercy at all. The robe is pierced by lances. As the robe is blown away, more lances pierce it. The sword into her falling body, an arrow into the arm falling to the ground, and the axe into her pained head. Each becomes a deadly guillotine. Survival is impossible. Castor is completely cut apart and dismantled, and she now looks like a mountain of red meat. Wind blows. The black robe, who lost its master, floats away. Floating away. The shredded robe still barely keeps its form. Now it is all that remains of what used to be Castor. I can't say anything. My strained mind just watches the black robe floating miserably in the wind. In that instant,
無礼者。俺が失せろと言ったのだ。特自害するが礼であろう。
he really said you should kill yourself now. The golden man roars in a voice full of contempt. It's not an illusion. The black robe twists like a wave, grows black wings, and tries to fly away. But it's too late. I don't know what the man did. It's just that a crack ran through the night sky. The dislocation in the sky swallows the black robe. It reminds me of someone getting run over by a steamroller. The black robe falls. Underneath it is Castor, unscathed. There. The storm of swords showers into her. The scream echoes through the night. The swords multiply in response to the scream, and the scream gets louder in turn. Castor must have regenerative powers like Saber. She cannot die even when swords are stabbed into her, so her figure is just too miserable. The rain doesn't stop. The weapons each differ in shape, and none of them are the same. And I don't want to admit it, but each one of those weapons equals the noble phantasms of the servants. The merciless rain of noble phantasms. Castor struggling under it is just... Man, I forgot that they, made an actual point to make his first entrance as intimidating as humanly possible. Because when I think of him, I'm just like, yeah, he's cool, but he's also like a massive loser. He's a dork. He's pathetic. And I say all of this affectionately. And that ends it. With the black mist hiding Castor, the servant disappears. The infinite cycle of torture that I thought would last forever lasted only about 10 seconds in reality. Through it all, Saber stares at the Golden Knight standing on top of the wall.
魔術師風情騎士王を捕らえるなどと口にするのも大罪よ。あれは王である俺のものだ。王の宝に手を出す輩にはかような串刺しが似合っていよう。さて久しいなセーバー、覚えているか？
Whoops. The man says in an intimate manner, "Get away from her! Get a job! Stay away from her!" Saber doesn't answer, but her glare is different from before.
なんだその顔は。未だ覚悟ができていないというのか。あれから10年だぞ。すでに心を決めてもよい頃だが。ああ、もっともそれは俺だけの話なのか。お前にとってはつい先日の話であった。
Get a job! Leave her alone!
まったく男を待たせるとはたわけた女だ。
The man laughs happily. My chest is hurting, partly from seeing that tragedy, but more than that, I feel sick when that man looks down on Saber with such a ridiculous expression.
まだ雑種が残っていたか。
Commenting unhappily, the man turns to the mansion. There, on the porch in front of the living room, are Ilya and Tosaka.
何あれ
Ilya is looking up at the man as if she's seen a ghost. Straining her eyes, she shakes her head, saying it's impossible.
嘘あなた誰なの
たわけ見てわからぬか。この身はお前がよく知る英霊の一人であろう。
Hey, by the way, fun fact, Siegfried Kazlana from Honkai Impact 3rd, Kiana's dad, same voice actor as Gilgamesh.
嘘
Ilya jumps off the porch and glares at the man.
知らない私あなたなんて知らない私が知らないサーバントなんて存在しちゃいけないんだから
待てイリア。
My call to restrain her comes too late. The cluster of magical energy Ilya releases shoots straight for that man. Impossible, Mr. Kazlana is a boy failure. So is Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is a bit of a boy failure. He's a baby girl boy failure, yes. I would consider them to have quite a bit of overlap, actually. Also, fun fact, Kiana's mom, Cecilia Shariak, has the same voice actor as Enkidu, who is, you know, Gilgamesh's quote-unquote best friend. Historians would say they were best friends. A clanging sound. The man didn't do anything. A mirror-like shield appeared in front of him and reflected Ilya's magical energy shot. As she fired the magical energy in anger, there's no way she can react to it. Ilya stands dumbfounded before the magical energy she fired. She is barely saved by Tosaka, who instantly blocked it.
なるほど。 今回はまた変わり種だな。前回の鉄を踏まぬよう少しは工夫したということか。
The man looks at Ilya. A cold stare like the one directed at Saber. A stare prizing a possession.
やだやだやだやだやだ、私はあなたなんて嫌いなんだから。
Ilya still glares at the man, pinned by Tosaka.
貴様の事情なぞ知らん。いいから早く開け。そら、せっかくの5人目なのだからな。
Gee, I sure wonder what he's talking about. The man speaks plainly. What kind of effect does it have? Ilya shakes violently and faints. That's it. That's all that'll happen. All Tosaka and I can do is look up at that man. We both understand. He isn't looking at us. We would just share Castor's fate if we raised our voices. But Saber is different. She is staring at the Gold Knight in a different kind of silence.
なぜあなたが見解しているのです、アーチャー。
Saber tries to control her voice. Tosaka and I can only be shocked by her words.
なぜも何もなかろう。聖杯は俺のものだ。自らの持ち物を取りに来て何が悪い。
ふざけたことを。あなたはそのような英雄ではない。いや、そもそも。
やめておけ。その先を口にしては戦わざるを得なくなるぞ、騎士王よ。いや、もとよりそのつもりであったが、今日がそがれた。再会を祝すにしては、ここはみすぼらしすぎるからな。
Saying so, the man turns away. He turns his back as if saying he has no interest in us.
いずれ会うぞ、セイバー。あの時から俺の決定は変わらぬ。次に出向くまでに心を決めておくがいい。
I need to get like a plushie of Gilgamesh so I can throw it out the wall during moments like this. I need to be able to bully him in real life. The man disappears. With that, the tension in the air vanishes and the yard returns to its usual silence. But that's the only thing that returned. My home is ruined, and Ilya is unconscious. Saber, keeping her back to us, still bears that heavy silence. Could file a Riz training order! Status and weapons screens updated. Archer number 2. Chaotic good. I know he doesn't seem good right now, but I promise he is chaotic good. Strength B, Endurance C, Agility C, Magical Energy B, Luck A, Noble Phantasm EX. Sir, you are broken. Magic Resistance E, Defense against magics. It cannot nullify them, but damage is somewhat reduced. Independent action A+, can act without a master. Details nothing. Skill. Charisma A+, talent to command and lead a great army. At this level, it is not so much a strength of character, but more like a curse. Noble Phantasm, currently unknown. And, weapons screens. Durandal. A holy sword favored by Roland, the paladin of Middle-Age Europe. The night Charlemagne was granted the sword by an angel and awarded it to Roland, the honored leader of the 12 Knights. It holds 3 miracles and does not lose its sharpness even when its possessor's magical energy is depleted. Like Caliburn, it is a symbol of power splendidly made. Did I read the stuff about Caliburn already? Yes. Herpy? I don't know. A monster-killing holy sword used by Perseus, the famous hero in Greek mythology. The sword itself is not an outstanding sword, but as its greatest characteristic, It possesses the ability of refraction of prolonged life. This is a divine skill that nullifies the special abilities of immortals, and it is said that wounds made by it cannot be healed. Treatment in accordance with the laws of nature is still possible. It was used to kill the youngest of the 3 immortal sisters, Medusa. Vajra, one of the divine symbols of Indra, god of lightning, from ancient Indian mythology. Indra was originally a phenomenon introduced by the Aryans, and Vajra is officially called Vijaya. But when he was renamed to Taishakuten as the age turned to Buddhism, his divine symbol also changed its name. It is a single-shot noble phantasm, and its damage is about B+. It is a simple weapon that does fixed damage regardless of the possessor's magical energy. Also, Vajra is a weapon that Buddhist gods possess. Dainslif! A demonic sword from the Nibelungen. A cursed noble phantasm that brings ruin to its possessor. I completely forgot that this was one of Gilgamesh's weapons. It is a demonic sword handed down through the family that killed the northern European hero Sigurd, and it is a noble phantasm originally possessed by the dragon Fafnir. It has the strong curse of revenge, but it also guides its possessor to ruin. Demonic swords and holy swords both contain both glory and ruin, but this noble phantasm only brings ruin to its possessor. Hoten Geki. This is a one-of-a-kind halberd, a weapon passed down in the Chinese culture. A halberd is a polearm used to thrust and strike and has many usages. Although it was a weapon that could be used by anyone, it died out as time passed, until it was revived in the Sung period, I think, as the Hoten Geki. It has many uses, such as thrusting, swiping, pulling, and parrying, but on the other hand, it is said that a great deal of skill is needed to handle this weapon. The crescent moon-shaped blade is called the crescent blade, and we call weapons with only one of those blades Seiryu Geki. Out of many halberds, only this halberd was promoted to the rank of noble phantasm, probably because it was used by a famous military commander. Dang, we got 2 Hoyoverse character names in here. Alright. I lay a futon down in the living room and place Ilya on it. Even though she's unconscious, Ilya's face looks calm and there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with her.
ほら、よそ見しない。包帯がずれるじゃない。
She hits my back.
父さが、お前怪我人になんてことしやがるんだ。
うるさい。人がせっかく手当てしてあげてるんだから、少しはおとなしくしてなさいっての。ほら、右手あげて。もう必要ないとは思うけど、一応こっちにも薬塗っとくから。
冷たいってそれ。
触覚があるってことは平気な証拠よ。はい、次包帯ね。
She skillfully wraps the bandage around my right shoulder. It's past 10. After returning to the living room, Tosaka started to treat my wounds. She started, but the wounds have mostly already healed, so all that's left is to treat them just for show.
はい、おしまい。にしても、ほんとデタラメな体ね。それだけの治癒能力を持ってるのは吸血鬼ぐらいなものよ。
We should play Tsukihime on the channel. Eventually. I know there's a patch for the original Tsukihime that takes out the H scenes. Which is good because those scenes are like easily the worst part of it. In a number of ways. A lot of them are just downright uncomfortable.
あなた、本当に人間？
The reason I bring that up is because Tsukihime is a Type Moon visual novel that is focused heavily around vampires. I think she asked me something similar a while ago.
あのな、俺はまっとうな人間だよ。俺だってどうしてこんななのか知らないんだから、聞かれたってわかるもんか。
冗談。まっとうな人間が脊髄切られてピンシャンしてるかっていうのよ。 便利だからあえて追求しなかったけど、いい加減不気味になってきたわ。もしかしてあんた首を切られない限り死なない土地の出だったりしない？
The worst part is, Tosaka is seriously considering that. 2000 anime VNs truly were games that existed. Truly, truly. She might come after my neck one day with an axe in hand.
ね、セイバーだってそう思うでしょ？原因はセイバーだとは思うんだけど、それにしたって不死身すぎるっていうか。
シローの治癒能力はシローのものではないのですか？
そんなわけないじゃない。強化の一つ覚えのシローがそんな高等技術をマスターしてると思う？こいつのデタラメぶりは間違いなくあなたとつながってるからよ。セイバーの自己回復能力がそのままシローに流れてるんじゃない？
そうなのでしょうか。今までそのようなつながりは感じませんでしたが、それならば今も私の魔力はシローに流れていなければおかしいですし、第一私の自然治癒はシローほど強くはあります。
セイバー、どうしたの？いきなり青ざめた顔しちゃって。
Saber's staring into space as if she can't hear Tosaka.
まさかそんなはずは。
Shaking her head, Saber looks away. Tosaka and I look at each other. Saber's acting strange. No, I know why. Saber's spirit has been low since that Golden Knight appeared.
まあ、シローのことは保留にしておきましょう。それよりセイバー、あなたさっきのやつと顔見知りだったの？あの金ピカ、セイバーが自分のものだとか言ってたけど。
Saber doesn't answer. It's obviously something she doesn't want to talk about. But I still want to know. Tosaka's question is mine as well.
セイバー、知っているなら教えてくれ。さっきのあいつは何だったんだ？セイバーはあいつのことをアーチャーと言っていただろう。
はい、認めたくはありませんが、私は彼を知っています。ですがそれはありえない。サーバントは7人だけです。彼が召喚されるはずがない。
サーバント？やっぱりあいつサーバントなのか？
No, that's obvious. But in that case, there's a big problem.
彼のクラスはアーチャーです。もちろんリンが契約したアーチャーとは全く別の英霊で、その能力も英雄としての気質もあまりに違いますが。
I know that too. It only lasted a short while, but I was able to feel how much of a monster he was.
ちょっと待って、おかしいわよそれ。あいつがアーチャーのサーバントならそれで8人目よ。一つの期間で召喚できるサーバントは7人が限度のはずでしょ。数が減ったから補充するなんてことは絶対にない。そもそも7人以上の召喚は聖杯だって魔力が持たないわ。サーバントが7人っていうのはそれが一度に呼び出せる限度数だからでしょ。なら8人目はどうしたって呼び出す。待った。
Putting it together, Rin?
セイバー、あなた前回の戦いであいつと出会ったの？
その通りです、リン。前回の聖杯戦争における最後の一日、火の海の中で私は彼と戦った。
My body tenses up for an instant. Saber fought him in a sea of fire? Yep. It's nothing new. Kotomine already told me that the fire was caused by the Holy Grail War. So this shouldn't be a surprise. It's just, I was unconsciously trying not to think about it until now.
決着は？あなた、あいつをきちんと倒したの？
倒してはいません。いいえ、倒すことはできなかった。なぜなら私は。
逆にあいつに任された。今回とは違う。きちんと召喚されて敵なしだったあなたが勝てなかった相手ね。
Saber hangs her head and doesn't answer. That pretty much answers her question.
セイバーが勝てなかった？
Not just the imperfect Saber as she is now, but Saber with her full power? Is that even possible? If you look at her skill as a swordsman, Saber certainly is invincible. Admittedly, Saber was the weaker against Berserker, but Saber has that noble phantasm. The noble phantasms of other servants are powerful, but Saber's exceeds even them. I don't think there's any hero she can't beat using her holy sword.
それじゃあ決まりよ。あいつ今回の戦いで呼ばれたサーバントじゃなくて、前回からそのまま残ったサーバントなんじゃない？
Indeed he is!
そうでなければ辻褄が合わないもの。
My mind stops. It's not that I agree with Tosaka, but what she said matches what I've been hoping for since yesterday.
ですがそれは。
ですがも何もないわ。それ以外に説明がつかないんだから。一度の聖杯戦争で呼び出せるのは7人だけ。それ以外のサーバントがいるとしたら、それは前回生き残った勝者だけじゃなくて？
You're on the right track. A heavy silence. But why is she in such a good mood?
父さか、何が嬉しいんだよ、お前。
当然じゃない。だって前例がいてくれたのよ。あいつが何者か知らないけど、要するに前回の戦いで最後まで勝ち残ったサーバントなんでしょ。ならあいつは聖杯を手に入れたのよ。でその恩恵でずっと世界に残ってる。つまり聖杯さえ手に入れればサーバントを世界に留めておけるっていう見本じゃない。あいつをとっ捕まえて詳しい話を聞きたいぐらいよ。
Yeah, you're right. I don't know who he is, but he's a servant and he's still here after the previous war. That means there's a way for Saber to stay in this world like him.
とまあ、あいつが何者で何が目的かは不明だけど、倒すべき敵には変わりなさそうね。セイバー、それであいつの正体は何なの？
それがわからないのです。前回の戦いでも私は最後まで彼の正体がつかめなかった。あの英雄にはシンボルとなる宝具が存在しなかった。
シンボルとなる宝具が存在しない？そんなバカな話があるもんか。宝具がないサーバントなんてサーバントじゃないだろ。何よりあいつはさっき。
そうよ、さっき山ほど使ってたじゃない。あれだけあれば正体を探るなんて造作もないでしょ。宝具の形状から該当する英雄を探せばいいんだから。
And that is exactly the problem.
では聞きますが、リンは先ほどの宝具に一つでも見覚えはありましたか？
そんなの当然じゃない。
Tosaka ponders. She thinks about it for a minute, but then she tilts her head in confusion.
嘘。そんなはずない。
どうした父さん？何が嘘なんだ？
信じられない。あの血に濡れてたのは多分ダインスレフで、鎌っぽいのはハルペイよね。なんか中華っぽいやつもあったし、お不動産のあれもあったような。
Tosaka looks crazy talking to herself. I guess this is what you call digging yourself a hole.
あれなんかセーバーの剣に似てたけど別物のはずよ。ああいう素朴なデザインは北欧っぽかったし、そういえば大抵の魔剣の原型って北欧だって話だけど。
She starts to grit her teeth.
おい、父さん。
There's no point in leaving her like that. I have to stop her now or there will be some damage. I don't need to add that I'll be the one damaged.
父さん、いいから戻ってこい。
ああ、もう黙っててよシロ。あんたがチャチャ入れるから頭が混乱してきたじゃない。
いや、チャチャを入れるつもりはない。あいつの宝具のことだろ。形状だけで言うならダインスレフとハルペ、デュランダルにバジュラにカラドボルグ、あとゲイボルクもあったか。
Hang on, was Calidborg in the weapon thing? No, it's not. Weird.
なんか中華っぽかったのはさすがにわからないけど、有名どころはそんなものじゃなかったか。
それ合ってる。
I'm hurt if she makes a face like that. I'm not knowledgeable, but it just popped into my head.
けどそれってどういうことよ。そんなデタラメな数の宝具を持ってる英雄なんていないわ。いえ、そもそも出典がごちゃ混ぜでもう何が何だか。
ええ、ですから私も彼の正体は分からなかった。英雄の証となる宝具をあの男は湯水のように持っているのです。あまりにも数がありすぎるためアーチャーの正体を絞り込むことはできなかった。
The two ponder. Well, there's certainly no way to tell if he has that many. It's like hiding a tree in a forest or something.
シロ、あんたなんかないの？
She glares at me. Yeah, she's definitely taking it out on me.
なんかないのってなんだよ。
だから気づいたこととか推理とか、とにかく瞬間的なひらめきよ。私たちに必要なものは意外性のある意見なの。行き詰まった事態を解決するのは偶然だけなんだから。
She might be right.
なるほど。お前、俺のことバカにしてるだろ。
失礼ね。戦力外だと思ってるだけよ。で、どうなの？
お手上げ。
I give up honestly. Tosuka groans in regret.
となると結論は一つね。セイバー、あいつが使ってた宝具はみんな偽物だと思わない？そうでもなければ説明がつかないでしょ？
同意見です。ですが。
いや、あれ偽物じゃないぞ。
How did they arrive at that answer? First of all, he wouldn't have been able to pierce Castor with fake noble phantasms.
エミヤ君、その根拠は？
だからあれは本物だって。むしろ他のが偽物っぽい。
は？
いや、あくまで直感なんだ。うまく説明できないんだけど、あれは全部本物だぞ。ランサーの持ってるゲイボルクはもちろん本物だけど、さっきのやつが使った槍もゲイボルクの本物だと思う。
God, it's harder to explain if she makes a face like that. No, forgetting that. Why did I think that? It's just that all the things he used were noble phantasms. I can feel that. Is it because I used projection against Berserker? I could tell that they were real noble phantasms just by looking at them. Conception dwells in superior weapons, and something is missing from weapons that merely imitate them in shape. I realized that when I imitated Saber's sword. By that argument, I think that all the noble phantasms he used were perfect.
まあ、シローの発言はとりあえず置いておいて。あいつの正体がわからない以上、次は目的なんだけど。
Tosuka sneaks a glance at Saber.
あいつも聖杯を狙ってるのは当然として、気になる点がもう一つあるのよね。セイバー、はっきり聞いていいかしら。
Man, why does she put on that really evil smile when it comes to this kind of subject?
それはどういう意味でしょうか、リン。尋ねたいことがあるのならば遠慮することはありませんが。
なら聞くけど、セイバーはあいつをどう思ってるの？あいつの言いぶりからすると、どうもセイバーにお熱のようだったけど。
He needs to get a job and leave her alone. I'm not following Tosaka's lead, but I sneak a glance at Saber. Tosaka is saying it wrong, but it's true he was attached to Saber. No, she's got it right. No, it wasn't that nice. He saw Saber as his and only his.
彼が何を考えているかなど私の知るところではありません。ですが前回の戦いの折求婚された覚えはあります。無論剣と共に切って捨てましたが。
That phrasing is so funny. He proposed to me, but naturally I deflected it with my sword. Marriage, you mean? What is that servant thinking? Good question.
この場合喜ぶべきか微妙だけど、それなりに悪い気はしないんじゃない？サーバントになってからも求愛されるなんて女冥利に尽きるってもんじゃない。
No.
そのようなことはありません。もとより私にそんな自由はない。私の目的は聖杯を手に入れることです。
He also did not exactly make that proposal under good circumstances.
正直あのようなざれ言は勘に触ります。
そう？セイバーはそうでもあいつはかなりご執心だったじゃない。あの手のタイプはね、相手が断っても一向に答えないんだから。セイバーも頑固だし、いっそああいうやつの方がお似合いかもよ。
No. I don't know what's so funny, but Tosaka's words are irresponsible. Tosaka seems to be happy to be talking to Saber about this kind of thing. Saber seems to have no interest, but...
ですからそのようなことに関心はないと言っているでしょう。彼は確かに優れた英霊ですが、私とは考え方が違いすぎる。
Saber answers honestly.
へえ、だってさシロ、セイバーは男なんて関心がないんだって。安心した？
Rin... Oh my god. Now is not the time for
今のは
teasing.
シロには関係のない話だと思います。今の発言はどこかおかしい。
でしょうね。今のは私の出現だったわ。けど何がおかしいのかって、おかしいことがおかしいわけ。
Tosaka laughs evilly. Her eyes seem to be laughing not only at Saber, but at me as well. It irritates me for some reason, and I stand up.
あれ？ちょっとどこ行くのよシロ。
お茶、喉が渇いたから。ついてだから人数分入れてくる。
I spit that out and go to the kitchen. I don't know why, but I'm irritated. So I think I'll prepare extra bitter tea for Tosaka. Petty.
それじゃあとりあえず部屋に戻るわ。込み入った話は明日イリアが起きてからにしましょう。
After messing a lot with Saber, she drinks the bitter tea and stands up.
ああ、さっさと寝ちまえ。間違っても戻ってくるなよ。
はいはい。それじゃああとはよろしくね。
I don't know what's so funny, but Tosaka leaves in a good mood.
シロはどうするのです？傷が癒えたと言っても無理は禁物ですから、今夜は休むべきではないでしょうか。
ああ、そのつもりだ。けど、もう少しイリアを見ている。問題がないようだったら和室に移して、そしたら寝るよ。
Oh man, we've got a bit more to go in this day. I will be right back in a couple minutes. I gotta get up for a sec. Alright, I am back.
そうですか。それではそれまで私も付き添います。
Our conversation ends there. It gets really awkward once it's quiet, as Tosaka was the loud one. No, awkward isn't the right word. There are things I'm worried about and things I need to say, so my mind is impatient. Come to think of it, what I want to tell her is all in a mess. About the Holy Grail. About her still being alive. Even if she does obtain the Holy Grail, there's no salvation for the girl called Arturia. I don't even need to say why. She has no wish for herself even now.
セイバー、さっきの話なんだが。
Our eyes meet. Her awkward eyes seem to know what I'm going to say.
はい。何でしょうか、シロ。
She tries to block my question with a calm voice. But I have to tell her.
だからさっきの話だ。遠坂も言っていたけど、聖杯を手に入れればサーバントはこっちに残れるんだろ。なら。
いいえ、私は残るつもりはありません。聖杯を手に入れれば元の私に戻るだけです。
それで王の選定をやり直すっていうのか。死にかけた自分を救わずに初めからやり直すのか。
はい。国を守るのは王の責務です。私の力が及ばなかったのですから、せめてふさわしい王を選び直さなければなりません。
Her words really make me angry.
このバカ！いい加減目を覚ませ！王の責務なんて関係ない。セイバーはこうしてここにいるんだから、あとは自分のやりたいことだけやってればいいんだ。セイバーは強いんだろ。ならさっさと戦いを終わらせて聖杯を手に入れてサーバントなんてやめればいい。願い事があるんなら昔に戻ってやり直しなんかするな。自分を変えたいんなら昔じゃなくて今から取り戻す方法を取れってんだ。
Saber doesn't answer. She gives a small sigh.
シロ、しつこいです。その話はもうやめてほしい。
She firmly rejects my opinion.
それに、聖杯があればこの時代に残れるというわけでもありません。アーチャー、あのサーバントは聖杯を手に入れたから残っているわけではない。なぜなら前回の戦いで聖杯を得られるはずがないのですから。
セイバー、それはどういう。
ないものは手に入れようがないでしょう。あの日町が炎に包まれた時、聖杯は破壊されたのです。私を裏切ったマスターエミやキリツグによって。
Oh, I believe this is the first time she's mentioned the name of her master in the previous war. My vision closes in. I hold my body steady with my hands as it's about to fall.
エミヤ、キリツグ。
Mm-hmm.
はい。10年前、前回の聖杯戦争における私のマスターは彼でした。私とキリツグは最後まで勝ち残り、聖杯はキリツグの手に渡った。アーチャーとそのマスターはまだ残っていましたから、あとは彼らを倒すだけで聖杯戦争は終了するはずだった。ですが、キリツグは聖杯を捨てたのです。その結果、町は火に包まれました。あの男は私に命じて聖杯を破壊させた。聖杯に触れられるのはサーバントだけですから。キリツグは最後の霊樹を使って私の手で強制的に聖杯を破壊させたのです。聖杯が失われてはサーバントはこの世にとどまれない。キリツグも私をとどめようとは思わなかった。私の記憶はそこまでです。あのアーチャーとの決着も 私を裏切った規律具を問いただすこともできなかった。
Well, it's not like I never thought about it. Father was a magus. If he lived in this town all his life, he must have been involved in a Holy Grail war. But still...
なんでそれを言わなかったんだ、セイバー。
通常サーバントというのは以前の記憶など持ちませんし、同じ英霊がサーバントとして召喚されることもない。私はサーバントとしては異例です。ですからこの件に関しては口に出すべきではないと判断したのです。それにシローには規律具がどんなマスターだったのかを語るのは気が進まなかった。
I should rewatch Fate Zero.
気が進まなかったってどうして？
シロー、あなたが私の過去を夢見たように私もあなたの過去を見てしまった。あなたのことにも驚きましたが、規律具の変わりようも私には信じられなかった。シローの記憶にいるエミや規律具は立派な人物です。ですが私の記憶にある彼はそのような人物ではなかった。
Or I could reread it. I have the novels. I could reread Fate Zero.
一言で言ってしまえば彼は典型的な魔術師だった。己が目的にしか興味はなく、阻むものは何であろうと排除する。およそ人間らしい感情など彼には見当たらなかった。私が戦いを通して話しかけられたのは3度だけです。それが何であるかは言うまでもないとは思いますが、残忍というわけではなかったし、殺人鬼というわけでもなかった。けれど彼には情というものが存在しなかった。規律具が私を道具として扱ったように、彼本人もまた自身を道具としてしか見ていなかった。規律具はあらゆる感情を殺し、あらゆる敵を殺した。そこまでして信じたものが何であったのかは私にはわからない。ただその目的であった聖杯を前にして彼は私に破壊を命じた。告白すれば、あの時ほど霊樹の存在を呪ったことも、私を裏切った相手を呪ったこともありません。
There's some truth in Saber's words. No, they must all be true. Come to think of it, I don't know what Kiritsugu was like before that time 10 years ago. I couldn't guess anything about him before that time, and I saw no need to learn about such things. It doesn't change a thing even if Kiritsugu was cold-hearted. The man that adopted me was really childlike. So my memory is my only truth. But what hurts my heart is, if Kiritsugu was really a cold person, his last moments were just too empty.
そうか。じゃあ俺がセイバーを呼び出せたのも規律具の息子だったからなのか。
わかりません。規律具は正規の手順で私を呼び寄せました。マスターとしての適性が高かった規律具は歴史のある魔術師の家系に雇われ聖杯戦争に参加した。マスターとしての準備はその家系が全て揃えたと言います。
Now you might be wondering, what family might that be? Well, I will give you a hint. It is one of the families that is represented in this war.
彼らは私の遺品をコーンウォールから発掘し、規律具に委ねて聖杯戦争に臨ませた。規律具はそれを触媒にして私を召喚したのです。ですから規律具本人には私を呼び寄せる因子もなければ属性が近いというわけでもありません。シローが私を引き寄せたのは 何か別の力が働いたからでしょう。
I get it. It's not too surprising that Father used to be a master. What's surprising is that his servant was King Arthur, the one standing in front of me right now. And one more thing. Saber said that the Holy Grail was destroyed. Then, isn't this war completely meaningless?
わからないな。聖杯がもうないってセイバーは初めから知っていたんだろう。ならどうしてこんな馬鹿げた戦いをする気になったんだよ。
確かに聖杯の有無は私には分かりません。けれど私が呼ばれた以上聖杯はなければおかしい。忘れたのですかシロ。私は聖杯を手に入れるためにサーバントになった。逆に言えば聖杯がない場所に私は呼ばれないのです。
いやでもじゃあ聖杯ってのは壊れても治ってるものなのか。
いいえ、聖杯はそう簡単に替えが利くものではない。一度壊れた聖杯が治ることなどないでしょう。
なら
ですがあるはずです。サーバントは聖杯の磁力に惹かれて現れる。聖杯がなければサーバントは現れない。それはあの神父も語っていたのではありませんか。
神父、そうか、あいつ。
Kirei! The supervisor of the Holy Grail War living at the church. That man that manages the Holy Grail must be able to answer all my questions. The end of the previous war. What happened to the destroyed Holy Grail and to the servant archer? And yes, what did Kiritsugu see at the end of the battle to make him destroy the Holy Grail? I wake up alone. Even if she is recovered, Saber still has to sleep periodically. Saber went to bed right away after that, and I went to bed too to relieve Saber. And that was an hour ago. It's past midnight. I'll be able to sneak out without Saber or Tosaka finding out now. And out he goes. I go out without making a sound. I thought about using the bicycle, but it'd be a problem if I wake them up by doing so. I guess I'll walk there. All the way across town. Literally to the opposite corner of the city. There's no one around. Even if it's midnight, the silence is abnormal. The air is frozen and I can't sense life from any of the buildings. On the other hand, I feel a contradictory heat under the road, as if there's a whirlpool of something black. Has something happened to the town in the few days I was held at Ilya's place? It feels like ill omens are everywhere.
気のせいじゃないよな。
I look up at the mountain in the distance. The Ryudo temple, which is far away from the city, just looks like a black lump from here. It's just that it seems like it's throbbing along with the night wind. I cross the dark river and walk to Shinto.
そうか。あれからもう10日経ってるのか。
That day. That night I first met Saber and walked on this bridge with Tosaka seems like so long ago. I see the church. I've never been to the church. Even though I told Tosaka that, I do have a connection to this church. I was supposed to be entrusted to the church and adopted somewhere later.
エミヤの家か。あの教会か。思えばとんでもない分かれ道だったんだな。
10 years ago, all the children in that hospital were orphans, and they were all temporarily entrusted to the church. I was the only one of them adopted from the hospital. That must be why. I felt kind of guilty and unconsciously avoided the church. That's why I told Tosuka it was my first time visiting the church on the night 11 days ago. The lights in the church are still on. I don't like that priest, but there's something I need to ask him. I take a deep breath and go through the heavy doors. I keep on walking while I call out. I can't sense anyone in the chapel. Even though the lights are on, it's so big and quiet that I feel more afraid than I would in complete darkness. There's no reply. I can't go in any farther, so maybe I should give up and go home for tonight. I instantly turn toward the sound.
エミヤシローか。こんな時間に何の用だ?
The sudden encounter leaves me speechless.
夜も更けた。あとは眠るだけだったのだが、その顔では懺悔の真似事でもしたかったと見えるな。
Kotomine says so and returns to the door he emerged from.
いや、待ってくれ。あんたに聞きたいことがあってきた。
そんなことは分かっている。時間外だからといって訪れたものを追い返すことなどせん。
So saying, Kotomine opens the door to the back of the chapel.
ついてこい。話といっても聖杯戦争の件だろ。そんな血生臭い話をここでするわけにもいかん。
Kotomine disappears into the back without waiting for my reply. I've come this far, so I can't go back empty-handed. I renew my determination not to be intimidated by Kotomine and follow him.
外もすごかったけど、中も凝ってるっていうか。
Is this a courtyard? There's a park and a passageway that seems too elegant for Kotomine to live in alone.
何をしている？話をするのならこちらに来い。
The priest turns yet another corner.
くそ、本当に待ったなしなんだな、あいつ。
I follow him, complaining. The church is like a small maze, so I have to follow him obediently. It's a modest room made of stone. This inelegant room seems to be Kotomine's.
もてなすものの一つもないが許せ。
He's 17. Kotomine says so while sitting down. Kirei, Shiro's 17. He can't drink. Is this the faint smell of wine? He must really like it if the smell is lingering in this room. Oh no. He is not the one drinking all of that.
どうした？話があるのではなかったか？そこでほうけられていても迷惑だが。
Do you think servants can get alcohol poisoning?
誰もほうけてなんかいない。この部屋が意外だったから驚いていただけで、すぐに要件を済ませて帰る。
I don't think they can. Man, it's a good thing servants are immune to, hangovers and alcohol poisoning.
それは何より。私も子供に付き合うほど暇ではない。質問は手短にしてもらおう。
As expected, I hate this guy. It feels like he can read my mind, and I feel intimidated when I talk to him.
それで話は何だ、エミヤシロ。一応教えられることは全て教えたつもりだが。
嘘つけ。あんたは知ってたはずだ。親父がセイバーのマスターだったこと。最後に聖杯を壊しちまったこと。あんたは聖杯を管理してる監督役なんだからな。
ほう、 セイバー自身がそう言ったのか？
ああ、前回の聖杯戦争はそうして終わったって聞いた。
The priest sinks into silence as if pondering.
サーバントが前回の記憶を受け継いでいるというのは異常だ。セイバーは故障しているのか、それともあのセイバーそのものが異常なのか。何にせよ通常のサーバントとは言えないな。英霊は記憶など持たない。過去、現在、未来、いかなる時代にも呼び出される連中に記憶があっては矛盾が生じる。奴らにあるものは生前の記録だけだ。死後英霊となってからの出来事は一切記憶されないはずだ。
Okay, but you're not answering the question. The priest ponders as he must not assent to the fact. I see. He doesn't know that Saber isn't a complete heroic spirit yet, so he's having trouble understanding.
いや、それが違うんだ。セイバーは他のサーバントとは事情が違うらしい。
事情が違う？なるほど。わざわざ訪れた要件はそれか。いいだろう。話してみろ。
I don't like his haughty attitude, but this is no time to oppose him. I don't like it, but this priest might give me some answers.
それが、セイバーは死んでないらしいんだ。あいつはまだ英霊になる契約をしていない。死の淵であいつが願ったのが聖杯を手に入れることで、その代償として英霊になることを認めたとか。だからあいつはまだ死んだわけじゃないんだ。聖杯を手に入れるまでは死なず、手に入れてしまえば完全なサーバントになるって言ってた。
死んでいない。ではセーバーはまだ輪廻の枠にとどまっているということか。他の英霊のように時間から外れたわけではないと。
ああ、そういうことだと思う。遠坂はセイバーは一人で時間に止まっているとも言ってた。
そうか。英霊のように事が済めば消えるのではなく、聖杯を手に入れるまでは英霊として駆り出されるということか。だがあれは未だ聖杯を手に入れていないため、失敗するたびに死の直前にいる自身に戻ってしまう。そうして前回の記憶を持ったまま今回も呼び出された。わざわざ死ぬために聖杯を求めるとは、英雄というのは分からぬな。そうして手に入れたところで待っているのはサーバントとして刺激されることだけだろうに。
そうだ。たとえ聖杯を手に入れてあいつが望みを叶えたところで、あいつは他のサーバントと同じになっちまうんだろう。俺にはそれが納得いかない。そもそもサーバントって何なんだ。英霊を使い魔にするっていうが、セイバーみたいに矛盾した英霊もありえるのか。
さあ、そのあたりのシステムなど知らんよ。魂の永続、その秘宝を真似て作られたのがサーバントシステムだ。こればかりは立案者であった当時の人間しか知るまい。
魂の永続？
いや、もともとはそういうものだっただけという関係のないことだ。忘れろ。それで意味やしろ。つまるところ、お前はあのセーバーをサーバントではなくしたいというのだな。
Did he guess right? I certainly think Saber's situation is strange. It's fine that she wants to obtain the Holy Grail, but all that awaits her is elimination. If a king other than King Arthur is chosen, and King Arthur is no more, I think it's wrong for her to be summoned as the hero King Arthur after that. So, if she can stop being a servant and live as a normal human being,
それは不可能だ。死者は蘇らない。いかに時間に止まっていようと、私たちにとってセーバーは死んだものだ。彼女を現世に呼び出しているのは聖杯の力であり、彼女が英霊になる交換条件を飲んだからだろう。聖杯を求めない彼女はサーバントとして召喚されることはない。そして聖杯を求める以上、遅かれ早かれ彼女は完全なサーバントになるだろう。たとえ今回が失敗に終わっても、彼女にはチャンスなど無限にある。セイバーは未だ時間軸にとどまっているため、聖杯を手に入れる機会を同時に行えるというわけでもないし、一度失敗した試練は何度やり直そうと失敗する。結果を体験しているからといって決定した結果は変えられないからな。だがそれでも聖杯を手に入れるのは時間の問題だろう。聖杯を手に入れる機会はこの聖杯戦争だけではない。聖杯に関する試練はあらゆる時代に存在する。その全てをしらみつぶしに続けていけば、いずれ聖杯は手に入れられる。そもそも彼女は結果として聖杯を手に入れるからこそ英霊として召喚されているのだ。お前のセーバーをサーバントでなくす方法など、あれがお前の前に現れた時点で存在しまいよ。
I thought so. As long as Saber seeks the Holy Grail, there's no way to stop her from being a servant. After all, she'll continue like this until Saber herself decides to use the Holy Grail for her own sake. Even if this Holy Grail war ends and there's no need to fight anymore, she will go on to the next chance to obtain the Holy Grail if she cannot obtain it this time. Once she obtains it, she'll become this heroic spirit thing and be sent out to many ages.
じゃあ聖杯を手に入れようが手に入れまいが、あいつはずっとサーバントのままなのか。
いや、そうとは限らんだろう。聖杯が本当に万能の杯であるのなら、セーバーを救うことはできる。
けどあんたはさっきそれは不可能だと。
なあ、セーバーをサーバントでなくすのは不可能だ。だがお前が望んでいるのは、セーバーを人としてこの世にとどまらせることだろう。ならばそう難しいことではない。聖杯戦争が終わった後、サーバントを人として生かすこともできる。もっとも死んでしまえば死の直前にいる彼女に戻ることになるが。
それはどうやって。
英霊とサーバントは似て非なるものとい、通常英霊として召喚される者には意志などない。連中はただ目的を果たすためだけの道具として召喚され消え去っていく。だがサーバントは別だ。あれは聖杯によって呼び出された本体だからな。それならば世界に留めておくだけで人として生きていこう。
そんなことできるのか。前回セイバーは聖杯が壊れた時点で消えたと言っていた。聖杯がなくなってしまえばサーバントは残っていられないんじゃないのか。
無論だ。サーバントを呼び出すのは聖杯であり、その後に彼らを維持させるのがマスターの役割だ。だがそれも聖杯がマスターの後押しをしているからでね。本来魔術師一人程度の魔力ではサーバントを維持できない。聖杯という強大な魔力提供源がなければサーバントは消えてしまう。
だろうな。なら
いや、足りないのなら補えばいいだけの話だろう。サーバントにとって魔力提供など代償行為に過ぎない。連中の本質は魂食いだ。存在濃度が薄れ始めたのなら、他人の魂で補充すればよい。
Does that mean attacking random people like Shinji did?
ふざけるな。そんなことできるものか。 大体な、セイバー自身そこまでして残ろうと思ってない。
そうか。ならばあとは聖杯の中身を使うしかあるまい。簡単な話だ。お前が真実セーバーを人として生かしたいのなら、聖杯をセーバーに飲ませればいい。
He must have predicted my response. The priest's expression tells me that he was waiting to reach this conclusion from the beginning.
それは聖杯で俺の願いを叶えろってことか。
いや、それはお前の願いとは関係がない。聖杯の中身はそういうものだ。リンから聞かなかったか。サーバントは杯に満ちた水を飲むことによって現世で2度目の生を授けられるのだと。
I don't know if water is the word I would use for what's in that cup.
もっともそれはこの時代の使い魔として立場を確立したに過ぎぬがな。肉体は依然サーバントのままだが、マスターさえ存命ならばこの世界にとどまれるようになる。
けどそれは。
That hasn't solved anything. Even if she can stay in this world, it's meaningless if she's still a servant. She can't exist without magical energy from her master, and even if she stays in this world like that, she returns to that hill after she dies. And Saber wouldn't do it. She isn't interested in a second life, and she said she's going to use the Holy Grail for another purpose. Oh, but first of all, the key to everything is the Holy Grail. Does it mean it still exists in this world?
話は分かった。結局聖杯を手に入れるしかないってことだろう。けど聖杯はあるのか。親父が壊したんならも
う何かね。
聖杯がないのなら戦う理由がない。こんな馬鹿げた殺し合いは無意味だ。
戦う理由はないか。何を今さら。元より君に理由などない。
As he says so, time freezes. No reason to fight. That's what this priest told me before. At that time, I just became a master and I didn't have much of a reason to fight. That's why I ignored it and thought it was just sarcasm. But what about now? I have a reason to fight. If there is a Holy Grail, I want to end this fight and give it to Saber. I have a reason to fight. I have a reason to fight. So why do his words make my body shake so much that I want to vomit?
まあよかろう。今はエミやシローの傷を切開する時ではない。
I hear a voice. A voice I don't want to hear. But it makes my mysterious nausea stop.
聖杯はある。もとより聖杯は受け皿に過ぎぬからな。なくなれば用意した者が新しい聖杯を用意する。
用意した者が新しい聖杯を用意するって、聖杯ってそんな簡単に作れるものなのか。
器を作るだけならばな。無論相応の技術が必要となってくるが、もとよりその技術なくして聖杯戦争は成り立たなかった。もともと聖杯とは神の血を受け継いだ杯ではなく、古より伝わる魔法の鎌が原型なのだ。お前も魔術師の端くれならば知っていよう。ユートピア、ギリシャ語でたどり着けない場所という意味を持つそこには、願いを叶える万能の鎌があるとされた。このあらゆる神話の根底にある万能の鎌を再現しようとした魔術師たちがいた。それがアインツベルン、マキリ、トーサカの三家だ。連中は何代かにわたって万能の鎌を再現する儀式を模索し、200年前にそれを完成させた。それが1度目の聖杯戦争。人工物に過ぎない聖杯に万能の鎌を降霊させ、道を開こうとした儀式だった。
アインツベルン。それってイリアの家のことか。
そうだ。アインツベルンはラインの黄金とやらの伝承に長けていてな。こと聖杯の模造品を作る技術は神業だった。
Oh, hey, that's a translation error. It says line here, but I believe it should say Rhine, as in the Rheingold. That's the Einsburns thing.
だがそれだけでは聖杯を呼び出すことはできん。ふさわしい土地と強力な呪縛が必要となる。それらを提供したのが遠坂とマキリだ。当時教会と魔術協会は係争の真っ最中だったからな。儀式には教会の目が届かない極東の地が選ばれた。アインツベルンはそれを見越して遠坂を仲間に引き入れたのだろう。遠坂はここ一帯の霊地の持ち主であり、アインツベルンとしては遠坂なくして聖杯召喚は不可能だった。だが二つの家だけでは容易に裏切りが起きてしまう。ことは三すくみにすべきだと考えたのか。遠坂はマキリの家系にもこの話を持ち込んだ。マキリも長い年月を持つ名門でな。こと使い魔に関しては優れた技法を持っていた。サーバントを縛る霊樹を作り上げたのもマキリだ。そうして連中は聖杯召喚に一致団結したわけだが、いざ成功してみれば残ったのは潰し合いだ。一度目の聖杯の降霊は連中が戦っている間に終わってしまったらしいな。そうして代を重ね聖杯戦争というルールを作り、形だけは元の協力関係に戻った。遠坂はこの土地とサーバントを形作るシステムを提供し、マキリはサーバントを縛る霊樹を提供した。そしてアインツベルンは聖杯が宿る器を用意する。それらが彼らの敷いた協力関係というわけだ。
The priest continues happily as if something pleases him. But I see. They say the Holy Grail War is a ritual, but Ilya's family was the original proposer.
聖杯を用意したのはアインツベルンだからな。前回キリツグに裏切られた彼らは最強の切り札を投入してきた。おそらくアインツベルンの娘が聖杯を持っているのだろう。
Ilya has the Holy Grail? That's weird. I don't think she had anything with her.
さて、これで気は済んだか。お前が何を悩むのかは私には知り得ない。だが解決する手段は聖杯のみだ。それが分かったのなら早々に帰るがいい。戦いはまだ終わっていない。セーバーもつけずに出歩くのは正気の沙汰ではないぞ。
余計なお世話だ。まだランサーのマスターが残っていることぐらい。
Hold on. There's one more thing I need to ask him.
ことみね、聖杯が消えればサーバントも消える。あんたはそう言ったな。
言ったが、何か問題でも。
大ありだ。何者かは知らないが8人目のサーファントがいた。セイバーの話じゃ、あいつは前回からずっとこの場に残ってるって話だぞ。
Don't you go acting surprised. Or are you just surprised that he went out? It must have been a surprise. Kotomine opens his eyes and mutters in disbelief. He's like, this fucking idiot.
どういうことだ、ことみね。あんたなら少しはわかると思ってきたんだぞ。
消えなかったサーバントがいるということだな。そう不思議ではあるまい。 前回の戦いはセーバーが聖杯を破壊することで終わったのだ。つまりセーバーの他にもう一人サーバントは残っていた。セイバーは潔く消えたが、そのサーバントが限界することを望んだのなら話はたやすい。それは魂を食らうことで魔力を補い、この10年間生き続けたのだろう。
そんなバカな。あいつの気配は異常だった。あんなのが10年間もいたら親父だってあんただって気がつくはずだ。
分かっている。おそらくかくまっている者がいたのだろう。そのサーバントのマスターか、もしくは
Someone, huh?
もしくはなんだよ。
聖杯戦争を知りながらマスターの資格を持ち得なかった魔術師だ。そういった人物には一人心当たりがあるのだが、それもないな。マキリのご老体はとうに隠居している。
Kotomine must be satisfied as he gets up from the sofa.
話はここまでだ。今の話を聞いては監督役として放ってはおけん。そのサーバントに関しては私が調べよう。お前は残るランサーとの戦いに専念するがいい。
Kotomine walks to the exit as if there's nothing more to talk about. Well, there's certainly nothing more to be gained from being here. I leave the dark room and follow Kotomine, who leads me to the exit silently. I leave the church. Behind me,
聖杯を手に入れればセーバーは死ぬ。その意味が分かっているのだろうな、エミヤシロ。
the priest asks as if confirming it. The priest is looking down at me from the doorway. Saber will die if she obtains the Holy Grail. I already know that. Saber's goal is to obtain the Holy Grail, and she doesn't want the Holy Grail's power. Once she obtains the Holy Grail, nothing will bind her. She will be freed from her situation, frozen on the verge of death, and she will die an unrewarded death on that hill.
どういう風の吹き回しだ。あんたがそんな忠告をする玉か。
なに、お前がセーバーに肩入れしている様は喜ばしいのでな。私なりの行為として忠告しているのだよ。聖杯を手に入れてしまえばセーバーは消える。彼女と共にいたいのならば聖杯は諦めるべきだろうとな。
それこそ矛盾してる。聖杯がなかったらセイバーをとどめておけない。
聖杯に頼ることはあるまい。先ほどのサーバントの話もある。セーバーを存命させたいのなら魂を与え続ければいいだけではないか。
ふざけるな。そんなことできるもんか。
I glare at the priest.
そうか。それは残念だ。
He must not even care about my glare as the priest is laughing.
ならば聖杯の中身に期待するしかないな。お前のサーバントが望まないにしても霊樹を一つ残しておけばそれでいい。お前の望みはそれでかな。
The priest is saying that it doesn't matter even if Saber doesn't want it. That if I am a master, I can just force Saber to drink using the power of the command spell.
おや、失言だったか。そう睨むな。あくまで今のは忠告に過ぎん。ま、セイバーの意志を尊重するのもよかろう。彼女の人生だ。我々が口を出す権利はない。例のサーバントに関しては明日中に調べ上げよう。気が向いたのならもう一度訪れるがいい。
The door to the church closes. Looking up at the church, I grit my teeth, telling myself that I will never come here again. Oh, buddy, you wish. I crossed the moonlit bridge. This is the place where I walked with Saber. At that time, I was just looking at the scenery, not thinking about anything.
聖杯を手に入れればセーバーは死ぬ。その意味が分かっているのだろうな、エミヤシロ。
I know. I know without him telling me. But why is everything so complicated? Saber must not obtain the Holy Grail. But it is the only thing that can save her.
彼女と共にいたいのならば聖杯は諦めるべきだろう。それでも存命させたいのなら、彼女に魂を与え続ければいい。
I can't do that. Even if I accepted that, Saber wouldn't. She would rather disappear than do such things. She would disappear and repeat this kind of war?
ならばレイジを一つ残しておけばそれでいい。お前の望みはそれで叶う。
この黙りやがれ。
I stop and punch at the rails as if shaking off the command spell. A hard steel sound echoes through the night. That's the only sound around here. There's no people nor cars around.
くそ。何をその気になってんだ。一体。
I lean on the rail and spit it out. I know I should just ignore Kotomine's opinion, but his words had a charm that make me unable to ignore them. What did I want to do, and what was I trying to fight for? At first, it was to end the Holy Grail War. When did that purpose fade away and become secondary? Was it when I was obstinate about fighting by myself? Was it when I decided to cooperate with Saber after I painfully realized how powerless I was? Or is it from that time I made a sword for her after that night in the ruins? I'm just trying to deceive myself with all that. I don't even need to think about it. Back then, when I met her in the moonlight in that shed, my mind was already made up. But that would have been fine. If I hadn't found out because of the dreams, this probably would have ended before I knew it. But I found out. I couldn't leave her alone and decided I didn't want to lose her. I want to stay like this. I want to keep watching her smile.
いた。
The girl watching the sunset alone on that hill of swords. My chest hurts thinking back to it. She never had time that was her own. I just don't like that. Kiritsugu said we shouldn't let girls cry. I think a smiling face is much better than a crying one. That's why I was irritated when Saber wasn't smiling. But when I told her to smile, she said that it was better if she saw me smiling. It's like seeing stars through a telescope that you can never reach.
くそ。
I look up at the night sky, looking up at the star I can never reach. Hold on, I need to screenshot this. 'Cause, this motif of an unreachable star, it has remained a thing in the series ever since. We're coming up on the 20-year anniversary. Oh my god. I just realized that. Jesus Christ. And, the unreachable star is still a thing in the series. And it makes me emotional. Drip. An unnoticed tear falls down my cheek.
俺、あいつが好きだ。
I say so to no one. However dull I am, I have to admit it. There's nothing I can do about it. I like her so much that I can cry for no reason.
おかえり。ずいぶんと遅かったわね。
And then, Tosaka is standing in the doorway.
父さん、お前なんで？
玄関で立ち話もなんでしょ。疲れてるみたいだし、こっち来なさいよ。
She takes my arm without asking me and starts to walk. And takes me to her room.
はい、お茶。外寒かったでしょ。
She says so rather bluntly, but she's thoughtful.
ああ、サンキュー。
Honestly, I appreciate the hot tea. It's about an hour to the neighboring town. Since I walked slowly, my body is freezing cold.
で、綺麗のとこに行ってたの？
She asks me directly. I see, so Tosaka knew all along. But she didn't even stop me, just waited for me to come home and prepared some tea. I've made up my mind, and I appreciate Tosaka's thoughtfulness. That must be why.
あ、行ってきた。聞きたいことがあったから。
I reply honestly, not hiding anything.
そっか。じゃあ何をしてきたかは聞かない。シロもそれでいいでしょ？
そうだな。それにあんまり身のある話じゃなかった。ただ今の状況を確認しただけだったし。
そう。でも驚いたな。セイバーがまだサーバントになりきってないだなんて。最強のサーバントがその実一番半端なサーバントだったなんて悪い冗談じゃない。
Cat cameo. The other cat this time.
そうだな。セイバーはサーバントになんてならなければよかったんだ。
I nod.
意外ね。シロとアッチャー、もしかしたら気があったのかもしれないな。あいつもね、シロと同じこと言ってたから。
アーチャーってあいつが？
そう、アーチャーも言ってたわ。自分は後悔してるからセイバーにはそうなってほしくないって。
なんであいつがセイバーの心配をするんだよ。あいつセイバーを嫌ってたじゃないか。
No.
そうなんだけどね。やっぱりさ、あいつってセイバーにゆかりの騎士だったんじゃないかな。初めてセイバーと戦った時、あいつ明らかに手を抜いてたでしょ。あの時から怪しいと思ってたんだ。
そうなのか。けどセイバーはアーチャーに見覚えはないようだったぞ。
そうなの？けどセイバーは王様だったんでしょ。なら国民を全て把握していたわけでもないし、忘れてることだってあるんじゃない？
あのな、そういうこと言い出したらそれこそキリがない。顔を見て思い出せないようなやつならそれは知らないってことだと思うけど。
そうでもないわよ。伝説だとさ、アーサー王の進化には運が悪くてキャメロットを追われた騎士も多いでしょ。あいつその一人だったのかもしれないわ。あいつが正体を隠していたのは私にじゃなくてセイバーに対してだったっていう。
Whoops. Tosaka's actively talking to me. Is she trying to care for me? I don't think it's having much effect, but she's a nice girl. She's usually merciless, but she tries to help people when they're weakened. And so, we drink tea together for a while. She must have run out of patience as she looks at me seriously.
で、あなたはどうしたいの、シロ？
とりあえず明日はデートする。
I can't think of anything else, and I already decided so on my way home. And then... where did that solemn atmosphere go? After making a really rude face, Tosaka... bursts into laughter.
ちょっと待って。心の準備がすごい すっごいわがままぶりよシロ。
Damn, now that I think about it calmly, I should have known this was gonna happen. I'm such an idiot.
うるさい。わがままで悪いか。そんな場合じゃないって分かってるけど、絶対に邪魔はさせないからな。
違う。シロがおかしくて。
Tosuka hits my back, holding her stomach. Could this be the worst treatment I've taken so far? She tries to catch her breath.
そりゃよかったな。こっちは全然笑えなかったけど。
デート頑張んなさい。私
Oops. Tosuka says so. Her attitude completely changed.
おう、頑張る。
That was a real surprise attack. If she says that kind of a thing with that kind of an expression, all I can do is nod. I return to my room. Saber is still asleep, and the mansion is quiet like nothing has happened. It was raining today, but what will the weather be like tomorrow? Looking up at the moving clouds, I step out of character and wish for it to be sunny tomorrow. And what do you know? The day he has planned for the date is Valentine's Day. So, we're gonna wrap up here for tonight. Next week, we'll be going on a date with Saber. As for tomorrow's stream, we are going to be doing the Fight Club event in Star Rail. So, thank you to everybody who stopped by tonight, and I hope to see you all next time.